Yeah,
Yeah, no kidding, right?
yeah.
Welcome, man.
Welcome to you. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too, buddy. So, yeah, we talked a little bit last week, and I met you I heard about you through Scuba, who I
Yep,
had just done a podcast with recently, not too long ago, and then I talked to your son Ben last week. That
yep.
podcast came out last week, and then now here you and I are.
Here I am.
Yeah,
End of the
man.
line. The last one in the line.
Mm,
Yeah, so I'm basically the one that's been out of all of them that's been playing the longest.
yeah.
So I've been playing for like 10 years.
Okay.
Um, and I basically started just through a group of friends of mine who went to a site in an abandoned shopping centre, um, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, this sounds interesting. We'll go along to this." And out of the four of them, I was the only one that was like, this is my kind of crazy. I like this. All of the rest of them were like, no, what? Getting shot by this? Oh, this is crazy. This hurts. I don't think I want to do this.
Uh-huh.
So, you start there, and I I went back there a couple of times and stuff, but I was on my own, and I was doing martial arts and stuff at the time. And a friend's son, he was only young at the time. Um, they said that he was doing it as well, and he's a really great kid. Um, and now he's all grown up, and he's
Mm.
just this big hulk of a lad. And he's actually in the oh god, I keep every time I go to think of it, my mind goes blank. But basically, he's in not the military police,
Mm.
but he's in the special military police that guard the nuclear facilities and
Oh,
stuff.
wow.
So he's a super chap. He really is just a super young man,
Yeah.
and so proud of him. So very, very proud of him. But yeah, he just went from this little kid to just being this huge, great big hulk of a chap, and
Hmm.
he's taller than me, and he's just and I love him to pieces.
Yeah.
And I always said to his parents, I would treat him like my own son,
Yeah.
good or bad. I will treat him like my own son, and I will look after him and love him all the time he's with me. And
Yeah.
we kind of had a journey together, and we used to go to this site, which was in a place called Reading, which was called the Mall, and that was our sort of one of our primary places that we used to go to. And we also used to go to another place, which was near a big shopping centre down in the south of the country, which was in an abandoned quarry,
Mm.
which was called the Sandpit.
Oh, yeah.
Now, unfortunately, both of those places now have been developed.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I always used to think to myself, with the shopping centre, this place had been closed for quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking years, and you used to see um, the shops and stuff that were in there because their boards were still up,
Yeah.
and you used to look at it and think to yourself, "Geez, how could this shopping centre, which I knew had been shut for like a good 12 years, because basically this site, they kind of like ran security for the owners of it, and that basically stopped squatters and stuff getting in there.
Right.
But secondarily, they ran the airsoft side of it.
Hmm.
And always used to think how strange it was that this place, which was in the middle of a town centre, I don't know what it's like in the States, but kind of town centres in the UK, they're kind of slowly dying off. We have a lot of people buying stuff online. So they are really kind of dying off. And I'm sure even your
Right.
big shopping malls are slowly dying off, and you're seeing
Oh, for sure.
shops. Yeah, you're seeing, empty sort of spaces
Oh,
and
all
stuff
over.
like that, which
Yeah,
is
we
quite
had
sad.
it is sad, but I mean, it's, part of, change, I guess, with like the online shopping and stuff and
Mm,
delivery. So, I mean, before we moved to South Carolina, we've been down here for 16 years.
mm,
And before that, we lived in Cleveland, Ohio. And Cleveland, Ohio had, well, it's a suburb of Cleveland, but they had a couple of big shopping malls out there. One was called Rolling Acres, and one was called Chapel Hill Mall. And Rolling Acres closed like the whole. These were large shopping malls, like two-story, like a normal with escalators, and stairs going up to a giant food court,
well,
tons of
I'm sure
stores.
most of yours would probably swamp a lot of ours as
Oh,
a
really?
standard shopping mall. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how big these were, but uh, they were large. Especially, and very
Mm.
busy for the holidays is what it used to be, And so, and then, so Rolling Acres closed. God, that's been 25 years ago. And then, and it was just, I'm not sure how it is now because I haven't been up in the area for quite some time. But the, um, the other one, Chapel Hill Mall, my mom actually had a, uh, a store, she sold popcorn, like a popcorn stand inside
Mm.
the food court. So they had, it's like specialty popcorn, right? Like all the different flavors and the different colors and all
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff. So it was real popular inside Chapel Hill Mall. And then Chapel Hill Mall started losing. And the thing is, it doesn't happen overnight. It's like one store that's in there um, will leave because there's not enough foot traffic to continue staying there. So these are like,
Mm.
and these will be chain stores. Let's say like Hot Topic is like a clothing
Yeah.
store, right? So maybe something like that, or like a Victoria's Secrets, or some kind of chain store that they look at the numbers every month, and then they decide,
Mm.
hey,
They will
where can we
hold it.
move to, right? That's better. And so the problem is mall owners, shopping mall owners, and managers, right? You got the owner of the property that's making all the money for all the, that rents out all the spaces. Then you have the manager that runs it. And
Yeah.
typically, the owner that owns that property or whatever, that's not the only business they own. So
No.
they don't, you know what I mean? So it's like they're not looking at it and trying to improve it consistently. And so the manager is pretty much his own boss. Doesn't really have to report to the owner very much because the owner sees 10 years down the road. He's probably already invested in online shopping, whatever, right? And so he's not going to put a bunch of money into a sinking ship that he knows is going to be like you would have to put in really expensive attractions into a shopping mall to bring people there. Like it's hard to juggle. So just regular stores that people go in. Um, Now the clothing stores, of course, still attract a lot of women for trying on clothes and that kind of thing. But because those are hard to shop for online. Now guys can buy a T-shirt and a hoodie online all day. We don't care how it fits.
Well, that's all we wear, isn't it? Gonna figure. Good
But
boy.
yeah, so my mom's popcorn stand. This was before we moved here. This is probably 18 years ago. I was helping her run it because her and her husband at the time, which was her second husband, my dad died back in 2002, and in a freak accident. So my mom and him were married for 42 years, and then a couple years after he died, 3 years or so, she got remarried. Well, him and her started this popcorn stand in that food court, right? So probably when the first store left that mall, I said, you guys need to start looking for something else. Like, we need to move your business online. And I was starting to
You
build
already
websites at the
thought
time.
about the demise of it.
hmm Yeah, because I was already
Really?
starting to do. I was working with a guy that had was Microsoft certified, and him and I were starting to build a an online business, and
Hmm.
we registered the name. We did all this stuff, and this is 2004, I think. So maybe 2005. Yeah. And so anyway, and we were getting all the back end set up, and I had built three computers with three monitors in my basement, and he would come over and he knew all the programming, and I knew very little. I knew most of the hardware stuff. I took care of all the hardware and updates, and then he did all the programming. He knew how to build websites from with code, which I didn't know how to do. So we were doing that, and we were going to build a website for my mom's business and bring it
Mm.
online. So the problem was they were a little older. They didn't understand that that's where it was going. And they said, no, we don't need to do that. And they never paid for marketing. They only relied on foot traffic in the mall for their marketing. They said, oh, word of mouth is good enough. I said, no, it's not. Like, Coca-Cola is one of the biggest companies in the world, and they still pay for millions and millions and millions of dollars of advertising every year because that old saying, right? Out of sight, out of
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
that's a real
Somebody will
thing.
come along with something else.
Absolutely. So they didn't want to market. They didn't want to build a website. And so anyway, now the mall is closed. She had to move out and find another spot. And they put all this money into renovating it's like a strip mall, like on a side street. There's like
Hmm.
maybe 10 different shops along, like a bridal thing, nothing that's related to what they're doing. There's not really a whole lot that brings a lot of foot traffic to them right now. So
Hmm.
her business is in the red since the mall closed. And this has been a couple years. So I said, Mom, I could have had all this set up for you, this kind of thing. But so she called me, I don't know, 6 months ago and said, would you look at our website? She paid someone to build a website for them, just like last year. And I said, your website looks decent. Okay. She's like, oh yeah, it was a friend of ours, and it's really not, it looks okay, but it's not good. Um,
Yeah.
I could have done better, but anyway,
It
and I
wasn't
would have done
quite
it for
up to
free.
spec.
Isn't that weird? So, but anyway, yeah, these shopping malls, we've experienced the same thing. We have one here in South Carolina that's really good, that's really popular, only because the area we're in right now, Greenville County in South Carolina, is one of the fastest growing cities and counties in America right now. So, as far as
There's a
population goes,
lot of development and stuff going on
yeah,
in there.
tons. It's we've had a huge influx of people from uh, northern states that are coming down. They're tired of and these are a little bit older people, so maybe like 40s, 50s, 60s are coming down, and
Mm.
so they're already established in their work. They've already so they got money. And so they come down here, they buy nicer houses, they go to the mall, they shop, this kind of thing. So it's the one mall that's close to us is very busy, but the other mall that's 30 miles down the road, down the freeway, is dying. It's doing the same thing
Um,
that most of the other malls have done. So there'll
that's
be a lot
sad.
of potential airsoft sites.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it was really sad to see this one shut. I mean, it
hmm
did reach. Honestly, I mean, it was packed out. You did have to used to book online for this one. You couldn't
Mm,
just rock up and hope to get a space for it
yeah,
because it was booked out to capacity every single weekend that you went there.
yeah.
Um, and one of the things that used to make me laugh about it is that um, it obviously you had like the shopping area up the top, but you could also play downstairs in what
Right.
would be the stockroom areas and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
those areas would be dark
Yeah.
and poorly lit. So you had to have either a torch or a buddy with a torch.
Yeah.
And I used to, a funny story was people used to have solid state grenades.
Mm.
And so obviously with those, as opposed to the paper grenades, is you've got to be very careful how you throw them, because basically you're throwing a big lump of metal.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to be super careful how you throw it, because you could really hurt someone.
Right.
But I decided to go a slightly different path, and because my brain works differently, and I bought an LED juggling ball. Now, at the time, I really didn't think about anybody that might have any sort of epileptic reaction to this. And in hindsight, I
Yeah.
kind of could have set off somebody's epilepsy with this thing.
So was it
Because
like a stroke? Was it a ball?
yeah, so it's a
Oh.
ball that you could turn on. So I used to
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
it in my pouch. And it was that good. And the funny thing was that from the company that I bought it from, I only ordered one. And obviously, they're used to selling these things in at least packs of 3.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so they messaged me going, can we just check your order, please? Because you've only ordered one.
How you
So I
going to
wanted
juggle with one?
Yeah, I wanted to message them back saying, I'm just a fledgling juggler here, and I'm not very good at it, so I want to start off with one ball.
Tell
But
them you're a one-armed juggler.
yeah, just the one, just 1, 2. But I just like, no, that's correct. But this thing was amazing in the dark, because you could throw it into a room and it would leave a light trace, and it would really confuse people. And then you could basically just pile into the room and then just slot them all. So
That's
it was
a
amazing.
good idea, man. In dark spots, yeah.
It was very, very good as a tactical sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I played in. I'm quite fortunate. I mean, I don't know what airsoft sites and stuff like. I appreciate the States is a lot bigger, but we're quite fortunate in the UK. I've got where I am. There's a place called the Bunker, which is actually
Heard of it.
it's a World War II bunker.
Yeah.
Now, it's set in a hillside, and if you didn't know where it was, you wouldn't see it. And there's like a motorway that you ride along, and if you go along, there's actually a military kind of operation above it, and it looks like a small sort of destroyer in above on the hilltop, but it's actually a naval sort of radar center, and it does look on the hilltop like there's a little bit of a sort of destroyer boat
Yeah.
sitting on top of the hilltop.
Oh, that's cool.
But below it are the tunnels. Now, I actually, in my job as a water heating engineer, I went to a customer one day, and I said to her, because she does all this tough mudder running, where they do all the assault courses and go through all the water and basically do about 10K and get caked in mud and get shouted at. And it's a bit like, And I said to her, are you still doing that? And she was like, yeah. And are you still doing that silly airsoft? And I said, oh, yeah, still doing that. And it wasn't long after I'd been to the bunker, sort of like 1 or 2 times. I was quite impressed with it. So I've been there a couple of times. And I was telling her about it, and she said, oh, where's that? And I told her, and she went, hold on a minute. And lo and behold, her dad was there. Her dad worked there in the Cold War. And what this place, I know, it's a complete coincidence.
Yeah.
And what it was a relay station for the destroyers and submarines during the Cold War. And what he did as a young man, he came out, he had a big old white beard and everything, looked like a typical naval guy.
Yeah.
And I was chatting away to him, and he basically said what he did there, which was he took like the punch card um, um, things, which are basically like a big old like raffle ticket thing
Mm-hmm.
from one machine in one area, and then picked them all up and then took them to another machine. So if you can imagine, he's basically relaying messages from one destroyer group
Yeah.
to another destroyer group, and he's
Yeah.
transferring messages about.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh, that's amazing, that's so cool. And he said, and what do you do there? And I'm like, yeah, so me and my friends, we run around in the dark with toy guns firing high projectile plastic BBs at each other.
Yeah. You're playing war.
So it's silly boys and silly toys, I said.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, wow, that sounds a lot more interesting than what I did there, he said. And it was just such a wonderful coincidence to come across this guy. And I actually told the owner of the site the next time we went down there. And he was like, oh, it's amazing. I have actually come across a few people in the past that have been here when it was operational. So it was quite an interesting little story to relay to him.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I've been quite lucky. I've played places like that, ex sort of military training grounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to play with my friend Jack. He got older, and he was progressing through high school, and then started doing his exams and stuff. So I realised that I was going to get left on my own, and I joined a team.
Yeah.
And then we started to play at quite a higher level, and we started to play battle sims, which are obviously which are more day related games.
Yeah.
So you go into the OA, the operational area, for the entire day. You take in a day sack. You can either take sandwiches, or you could take in an MRE.
Yeah.
And go full immersion with a jet boil, and however you want to rock it.
Mm-hmm.
You could get your mum to make you some sandwiches, and take a thermos of tea, or you could take an MRE. And we used to go to there was a company called Legion that used to run, and we used to go to places like Bramley and Longmoor. Now, unfortunately, because of Mr. Putin, those bases are now off the radar, because I think they're now being actively used to train Ukrainian groups and stuff.
Huh.
So unfortunately, Legion, who were a great events company, and again, we used to go on site and used to have to go all the way through. The area and be escorted through, and then you'd be in the safe zone, and then go out into the OA, and you'd be out there all day and then walk back in. But they were great days. You really knew that you'd done a day there, because you were proper knackered after that day. But they were fantastic days.
That sounds like it.
Then, unfortunately, as people do, things started to grate, and I ended up leaving the team. And I came across my little group through going down to
with that's where you met
Dan and Caitlin and everybody. We used to go down to what was there was a range, and again, I don't know if you've ever seen these things, but they're from a company called Attack Sense, and they're amazing. They're amazingly simple, but they can be used in a very complicated way.
Right.
And so all they are is a square disc, and that square disc has got 3 lights in it. It's got an amber light, a red light, and a green light in it.
Yeah.
And through those three sequence of lights, you can play an array of different training things. You really
Right.
can. You can play reactionary times. You could just play 25 lights up and clear those 25 lights, and just a timing thing. You could just have the random lights coming up, so a pure reactionary thing, or you can really start playing serious stuff where you have to double tap stuff. You have to start playing hostage stuff. So you're not just reacting to a light.
Yeah.
You are then reacting to colors associated with green and red, hostile and hostage.
Yep.
So your brain's not just instant reacting to fire. You're reacting to, differentiate between the two. Oh, sorry.
Right.
So in that respect, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Marcus from before, and unfortunately, Marcus was also Marcus had a much worse experience before he left his team.
Oh, okay.
Met Marcus furthermore through that, and bonded a lot better and everything with them through there. But as I said to you, and I'm not going to continue that conversation that we had before, that ended badly with the exposure.
Oh, right. That's right.
of the owner or of the chap there being
one of the guys doing stolen valor or whatever.
Yeah, through false valor.
That's right.
And as I said, that left all of us feeling particularly scarred.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, as you're aware, Eric, people unfortunately spoil a lot of things.
Oh yeah, I mean that's common. But some of these sites that you're like the bunker one, I definitely remember hearing about from quite a few people that I talked with from over in the UK. So
historically, it's a very interesting site.
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of the sites, you can run some fairly intricate games, or you can run some the one going back to the mall, they used to run always after lunch, which I because I used to play there quite regularly, I knew it was coming. But they used to run a Terminator game. So they used to basically they used to, after lunch, used to be playing a game. But I knew, because I used to play there regularly, at some stage during the game, a guy, one of the marshals, dressed as the Terminator, would come out from somewhere with 2 cannons.
Nice.
And everyone was his target.
Mm-hmm.
And he would basically light everyone up. And if you wanted to see a group of grown men shrieking and running away like a bunch of girls with pigtails, it was just hysterical. And all of a sudden you'd see, oh, that's the yellows running away, and the greens as well, in the same direction together. And you'd be like, oh shit, the Terminator's coming.
That's
and
it.
You'd be like,
yeah, that's like the juggernauts. Now, when they do that, do they you can't kill them, right?
No. He just used to basically come on for maybe 5 minutes and then disappear through a door, and maybe exit through one door and then come out through another one, because they had all little secret packages. It used to be really funny.
Into it. Mm-hmm.
But people that didn't know, honestly, it really used to freak them out. And as I said, grown men screaming, it used to be really funny. But yeah, cool. The sites and stuff. But there's one locally that we're playing at the moment, and Dan and Marcus and everybody have got, not only do they play there, but they've got a vested interest in it because they do photography there for them.
Right.
which is good. But the owner there, he's developing the site, and people like a lot of interesting bits and pieces there. So he's put in London buses in there, for instance.
Oh, whoa.
And
That's
he's
cool.
he's this recently. He's cut a lot of the woodland back. He's built barricades. So it's not just woodland bushes. He's cut back He's putting barricades in. He's putting a lot of investment and stuff into it to make it bigger and better and more interesting for people to play in, especially over the winter months.
Right.
So yeah,
Are those London buses? Are those like the double decker? Like they're two?
so,
Okay.
yeah, so basically
Dang,
there's
that's
one.
wild.
Yeah, so there's one in there which has been in there for a while, which is just a standard double decker. And
Hmm.
the new one that he's put in there is like a tour bus double decker, which is open at the top.
Okay.
So I haven't been there. I've been watching his updates on Facebook. And he's also got helicopters in there as well. So he's done a lot
Whoa.
of work spinning them
What
around.
what site is this? What's the name
It's
of it?
called Driver's Wood.
Oh, Driverwood. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Driver Wood.
I
So
think the first girl that told me about that was Alex Hillary. I don't know if you've ever met her on the field, but she
no,
plays a lot of the same sites that you play at. Also, a girl named Chloe. Her
mm,
YouTube channel is Anglefield Echo. She plays a lot of the same sites you guys play at. I don't know if you met her yet, but
no,
okay.
no. So
Yeah,
I
you'll
mean,
have to.
there's quite a lot of sort of woodland sites and stuff like that. So
Here we go. Driverwood Airsoft. Well, I'm looking at their Instagram because, yeah, I've been following them for a while. Okay. Because I followed them right after Alex Hillary told me about it.
hmm,
Oh, wow. Dude, they
he
got like
really
this downed,
he
what is this kind of plane or something?
yeah, they've got a plane there. They've got
Yeah.
people. People are massively attracted to, especially as if you were to talk to military people, they
Yeah.
would basically turn around and say, "Stay away from that shit," because if you was in a real life situation, that would just get lit up royally.
All right.
So you would stay. Well, that would be a huge red flag. So stay away from it. But airsoft people, they're like, "Ooh, I just want to, I just want to clamber all over it. I want to get in that bus. I want
Yeah.
to shoot from that bus,
Right.
and I want to throw, I want to throw flashbangs and smoke into the bus."
Absolutely. Like,
And
who cares if it's tactically sound or, give you a tactical advantage? It's still cool.
yeah, so that's what they're doing. So basically, good luck to them is what I say. Good luck to them.
Absolutely.
Let
Yeah, I'm
them
actually
let them
scrolling through their
thrive.
Instagram, seeing all these different, the helicopter. Okay. The bus. Oh, yeah, I see the bus right here.
Yeah. So they've
Okay.
now got, as I said, they've now got two of them. So you know,
That is
good
cool.
good luck to them. Good luck to them.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's no
Now, is that one of the closer sites to you?
oh mate, it's like 15 minutes away from home.
What?
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I mean, this is what I say when I watch a lot of stuff. And I don't mean to sound generic, but when I watch a lot of stuff like that's to do with the States, I always think, God, everything just seems so far away from them. They must be in the cars
Uh-huh.
for ages traveling. They must look at the UK and go, God, you're so lucky. Everything's just on your doorstep. If
We
you got to
do.
go, yeah, if you got to go to the supermarket, it's like, well, there you go. You just went there and you came back, but everything's so close. But that, as I said, that one's really, really close.
So
So,
the Milsim site that we go to, that me and my boys have gone to, uh, they it's called GTI. It's a
mhm,
Government Training Institute here in Barnwell,
mhm.
South Carolina, and it's almost 3 hour drive. Okay, and it's out in the sticks, like it's out in the middle of nowhere. And what they
Nice.
do is it's an abandoned nuclear site. So like they
Wow.
had a reactor, so they had like it was an old nuclear power plant years ago, and it just fell apart or whatever. They just stopped using it.
Well, I hope it's safe for you to go in there, mate. You're not going to come over there and click or anything.
Yeah, right. I mean, they've got some scary looking basement hallways down there. With all the piping and stuff runs. The tunnels, and we're always joking like there's going to be some kind of mutants coming out of there, because of the uranium or something, like nuclear waste,
three-headed or something like that, to suddenly pop out. Oh, that sounds really interesting.
It's really it's a beautiful site. It's very big.
So that's obviously a weekender then when you go there.
Oh yeah. It's 3 days. We go Friday, Saturday, and then come back Sunday evening. So now what they do is. They host airsoft events there, handful of times a year, maybe 4 or 5 times a year. Then they have there's something going on there every weekend. So they'll have FBI will train there. The SWAT teams from around the country will come out here and train, and then of course local and non-local police force will go out there and use it as well. And so when you go there to an airsoft event, there's typically the weekend before our airsoft event, there's been a SWAT team or somebody training out there. So when you go inside these buildings, there's expended brass all over. There's used casings all over the floor. And it's kind of cool because it adds to the environment. The realism and stuff.
One of the things we were always told when we were out on the Legion games was do not pick up any spent munitions. If you do see anything, do not pick it up.
Yeah.
Because, you just don't know what they've been training with when you're out there.
Yeah.
Because, they could have been doing anything. And they had like a village sort of set up. So, there was houses and stuff to breach.
Yeah.
And all sorts of bits and bobs. So, yeah.
So I want to go back to this, that attack sense you were talking about and how good it
is. Yeah. They're brilliant. They're really good.
And
I've actually looked for another place because I've got friends and they're like, I really like the idea of it. But to be fair, I don't like the idea of being shot. I like the idea of the gun.
Right.
And I like the idea of shooting a gun, but I don't like the idea of the pain side of it. And I'm like, listen, that's fair enough.
So there's a couple of, there's competitions. I talked to this one guy here in the States that I think he's up in Northeast America, like New York or something like that. But he was on a team where they did. They had a 2-man team, and they would go through. It was airsoft, but it was just target shooting. So it was timed. It was timed, and then accuracy for your, where you're placing your shot on the targets. And so it was a 2-man team, and so you had to, you both had to go through and do. One person had to shoot this target, one person had to shoot this target, whatever, and, to be able to move on to the next stage kind of thing. So when I heard about attack sense, this is probably a year and a half ago when I first had it might have been Marcus, might have been the first one to tell me about it.
Yeah.
Or no. It was Bernie. It was Red Panda. Because when I asked her how she got an airsoft, she's like, well, my boyfriend took me. Our first date was going to a range to shoot airsoft guns, and he had taken her to shoot the attack sense, whatever. So she said it was so cool, and she was telling me about it. So I started looking into it, and of course, a lot of people I talked with over there in the UK had talked about it, and I watched a bunch of videos on it. So anyway, I was like, man, that's a really cool system. I love that. And then I talked to a guy that started a company called Skirmish, and it's a mesh system, or it's built on a mesh system. So it's a bracelet. I don't have one sitting here right now. I I normally do. But anyway, sorry, Brandon. But I met Brandon. And I heard about this system where it's a little tiny it's an RFID reader.
Mm.
Okay, and so the box is the RFID reader. The bracelet has the RFID chip in it, just like your credit card
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
bank
Yeah.
card or something, or your phone. Okay,
Hmm.
you tap it on there, and that registers you to that box as far as like you took over a checkpoint, right? So
Hmm.
like these competition or these parts of mil sims or even skirmishes during just a 1 day play, they'll you take over these objectives just like pretty much like normal. Well, this thing when one box is hooked to like whatever the field you're at, like their Wi-Fi, and
Yeah.
then you can go as far as you want as long as that one box is hooked up. Then each box connects to each other and talks back to that original box, which means you have real time updates on his website. So when there's a game going on, you can watch the game in real time. As far as the way he has the graphics set up on his website, so you'll see green or red and blue. Let's say red and blue teams.
Oh, all right. So it'll
Um,
give you
yep.
real time dottage as to where the
Uh-huh.
people are.
So, for example, if you guys are at Driverwood and you're playing a objective-based game, and your teams are red and blue, I could watch from here. You could say, hey man, we're playing Saturday, we're playing this game,
Oh,
and
you could
so
watch
once
this
it's
in
all
real
set up, once
time.
that system's set up, I could go to the website. It'll show. I go to skirmish.net. It'll show it'll have a separate page just for you guys for that game. I'll click on it and then I can watch. And now I'm not seeing you guys play. I'm seeing these different objectives light up. And it
Mm.
also has what they do is the respawn. So when you go back to respawn, this is how you respawn
Yeah.
is
So
going
you're
back
almost
there and
you'll be tapping in onto
you tap
respawn.
in. So now I can see how many people got out. You see all these different stats going.
Ah,
It's
yeah.
kind of cool to see. Now, one of the things that I talked about a while ago, I haven't talked about it in a really long time, but what I would love to see is a competition setup for, let's say, people like what you're talking about, where they don't really want to play airsoft, but they really like shooting the guns,
Mm.
right? And they want to test their skill. I would love to see a competition setup to where it's almost like an obstacle course where you have these objectives you have to do uh, using that skirmish system with the
Yeah.
bracelet, and also the attack sense
Yeah,
where
yeah. So
you
you can go
register your
out and
hits.
shoot the targets.
Yeah, so you'll have hostage situations where you can't shoot the green one, you got to shoot the red one behind it. So now you've got, and so you get points based on your accuracy, tapping in, and then of course your time, right?
Mm.
And the cool thing too is, which I know Attack Sense, they can program these things like you said, a double tap,
Yeah, yeah,
only,
yeah. You can do a lot with them.
a lot. And skirmish is the same way. These boxes can be set up to where you have to hold it for, let's say, 15 seconds for like a bleed out, like a revive time, like if you're reviving your buddy.
Mm.
So let's say you got to, pick up a wounded warrior. You run over there, you got to hold it for 15 seconds. And then, uh, maybe go to another place and, take over an objective.
Maybe
Uh,
maybe
it's
that
very,
technology will come in, Eric, into the
yeah.
game. You never know.
So
I
he's
mean that.
using it. He's using it already in a lot of the indoor, like
Yeah,
CQB places, and it's really cool
that's
to
really cool.
watch. But I would love to see these two get together and do, some kind of time trial. I guarantee you, there's got to be people out there that would love to run through a course and see their
Mm.
time and skill with these two things, working together. It'd be cool.
But it's very difficult, and I'll give you an example of this. The other weekend when we were playing,
Mm-hmm.
um, we had on our team we had 2 VIPs, and we had 5 objectives within the map Now, the two VIPs couldn't go round to the same points together.
Okay.
So they had to
Right.
hit the 5 objectives at different times.
Gotcha.
So we were at our respawn point. Now, I took it upon myself to stand in front of our team, the green team, and say, now, the green team is normally, like, if you like, the home team. And there's quite a lot of people on there that are fairly regular to the site.
Okay.
And then we had a load of other people. And I sort of said, like, so let's split into two. Half of the team go with this this person here, and we'll go with this person here. And we'll protect them because they can only move when there is a minimum of 2 people with them. They can only fire when there's a minimum of 1 person with them. And that's the objective of the VIP. And we have to hold each section for 5 minutes, and then we can move on to the next section. Did that happen? Did it fuck? Because, and I'm not joking, it didn't. I thought, I'll have a clear chat with everybody. This is what we do as a team, because the other lot, the other team, the orange team, didn't do anything. And we absolutely shit on them big time.
Yeah.
Even though we weren't coordinated as a team, we were just in our little bits and we still wiped the floor with them. Yeah. I said, right, let's really wipe the floor with them and let's be coordinated, even though we're not on comms. Let's just split into twos. You be with that VIP, we'll be with this one, and that's what we'll do. Didn't work. So, no, we just want to run off and fire at people. So that's what they do. Because they're skirmishers.
Right.
So, a small amount of us went with our VIP, Luca.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really nice guy. And so off we go. This was incidentally when Ben, I don't know if Ben told you about this, I think he did, had the small incident where he tried to use the smoke grenade earlier in the day, didn't manage to use it, put the cap back on it, put it back in the front of his pouch, which is at the front of his plate carrier, and it had come loose, the strike plate had come loose, flipped round on itself, struck itself, and then had gone off in the front pouch. To which I was standing there and he was like, oh, Dad. And this was one that we'd got for a mil sim. So it was a really good, high quality smoke grenade. And it was a double ender. So it blew out both ends.
Right.
And literally I was just like, dropped my rifle onto the sling, grabbed the front of this pouch, ripped it open. I actually burnt a hole in my glove because this thing was cooking off.
Uh-huh.
So I lost my mechanic's gloves because that's it. They were knackered. Grabbed this thing out and oofed it into the undergrowth. But that was it. The pouch was wrecked. But I think I'm still going to have grandchildren because he didn't cook his groin. He didn't cook his groin off. These things happen on Airsoft days, you know.
Oh, for sure.
At least my son didn't cook his genitals off on that occasion. But we stayed as more or less as a little 5-man fire team. Mm-hmm. And there was another couple of people with us who weren't known to us. And we actually encountered very little resistance.
Yeah.
And to try and say to these guys who we didn't know, and they were like, look, there's the other team. There's the other team. I was like, do not fire at them. Don't fire at them. And they're like, but they're there. I'm like, don't fire. Why do you need to fire at them? But they're there. I was like, you fire at them, they're going to fire back at us. Then they're going to engage us. We're doing an objective. Imagine we are in the military. There's a whole firefight going around us, which is actually what's happening. We have got an objective within this firefight. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what we're doing. They ain't paying. They know what we're doing because they've just done it.
Yeah.
But they're idiots. And they're not paying attention to what we're doing. And they know that Luca is the VIP because he's wearing blue armbands. but they're not paying attention. So we're just going to be quiet, and we're not going to fire them. So don't fucking fire them. And they ended up swearing at him. Literally, do not fire at them. All right, all right, all right. And and that's what it was
Stand
like.
down, soldier.
Yeah. And literally, we hit our 5-minute objective, and poof, and off we went to the next. Done our 5 minutes, and literally we cleared all our objectives so quietly, and then we went and helped the other VIP, and we just cleared it so quickly. I couldn't believe it. And afterwards, he was like, oh, "I get it." I was like, "Stop thinking like an airsoft, you moron." Honestly, it's not all about just, oh, look, there's the other team. You couldn't even hit them. They were too far. You've got a toy gun. Remember this.
Mm-hmm.
But they just don't get it all the time. There's times when you can think tactically, and there's times when they're just morons. I mean, I've got no military.
Shoot, man. That's what they just want to shoot.
Yeah, I've got no military experience, but I'm not. They're just retarded.
Well, you don't have to. Like, that's the thing with, over the past 20 years or so with, video games that are, they teach you kind of, how to use tactics and stuff. Like and videos that we watch, like we learn from all these things. I mean, you think about a little kid, little children, right? Even before they're toddlers, the only way, or probably a huge percentage of how they learn is observing. That's it. You don't teach, a 1-year-old all the different words they learn. I mean, you teach them, right? Sometimes like, oh, say, daddy, say mommy, this kind of thing that parents always, try to get their kids to say or whatever. So those things you're actually making an effort to teach them, but almost everything else is learned by observing. All they're doing is watching and listening. Completely. So we're the same way.
Yeah.
When we watch these video game videos, somebody playing, or we play them ourselves, we're actually interacting with it. And so we learn, don't hide in this spot because my back's exposed. So maybe hide in a corner where there's like a wall behind you, right? So little things like that, that's tactics, right?
Yeah. Do we need to engage right now?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like if it's one, it's like chess. Like if it's one, if there's 2 of you and there's 10 of them, it'd be fun. I know it's a game. It'd be fun to shoot at them, but you're going to die instantly. So do you want to? Like, is it worth it? Or, do you want to go ahead and wait and see if you can complete your objective? And
after sort of 10 years of playing and getting older, unfortunately, which is shit, I'm sort of slowing down and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've actually, so to go on to sort of things that we're playing with and stuff, I've, a lot of people, especially younger people and stuff, maybe that are playing video games and such, are very romanced by the sniper role.
Sure.
Now, sniping is very, very difficult in real life. And I'll just grab my recent acquisition.
Well, the thing about the sniping stuff is in Airsoft is that it's way more fun to watch these videos of people that are good at it than to go out there and do it. And I think a lot of guys go, oh yeah, this is, I'm going to go do that sniping like Silo or Kicking Mustang. And then they go out there on the field and they go, oh shit. You got to wait like 2 hours to get anyone in your sights. Like it's not as action packed.
I don't want to shit on those guys, but my son's watched a lot of bits and bobs, but I do think some of those videos are staged.
Think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do think some of those are staged.
They definitely
on certain bits of the meal sims and stuff when it's like, I managed to get into this exclusive area and only I could get into it. And you're like, that's a fucking lie. So,
I guess who knows? I don't know. I guess if you go to if you're very familiar with the site, I mean, you've been playing for 10 years, you probably know way more secret spots at Driverwood than I would if I went there for the first time. So who knows? So
Mate,
what you got?
he's changed it all now, so it don't mean much at all.
That's
So
true.
I'm I'm
Okay.
quite imaginative. I've been building stuff and modifying stuff for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually it would have been a lot easier to spray this, and my friend Dan Maverick
Mm-hmm.
is very very good
I've seen the
with
paint
the
jobs.
paint
Yeah.
can and everything like that.
Yep.
But I I wanted this to stay original underneath.
Yeah.
So what this is basically from a company called Silverback,
Oh,
and
I've
this
heard
is
of
a
it. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so this is a TAC 41 sniper.
Oh, okay.
Um, so and all I've done with this is I put a new spring in it, which has basically brought it right up to site FPS limits.
What kind of
Now,
spring did you put in? 120, 140?
I don't know, my friend Jacob did it
Oh,
for me.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So he looked it up and he went, right, that's the one you need. And
Okay. Gotcha.
I put a suppressor on it as well because
Yeah.
I thought it looked nicer. So
It looks
because
good.
yeah, so what I basically did with this, just as without sounding big-headed or just as a tip, because I can't draw for toffee, and I can't paint, but I can make things. So I'm sure that you're aware there's this expanding tape that you can get, which a lot of people use for if they sprain their ankles and stuff. Now this stuff
Right.
has become readily available
Mm-hmm.
in camouflage colours
Okay.
for and I've got some here on the site. If I
Yeah.
move my hand out of the way and rotate it, so it's just on the site there. And
Mm-hmm.
basically it wraps round on itself, and it's a fabric style tape.
Yeah.
But
It's
if
like
you
a foamish kind of
yeah, and you could
stretchy, squishy kind of.
if you sprained your ankle, it's normally
Mm-hmm.
blue actually, and
Mm-hmm.
but now it's available and it's in camouflage colours.
Right.
So what I did was on sections of the gun, I wrapped it around, and then the green part is a
Mm-hmm.
scrim scarf.
Yep.
So I wrapped it around sections of the barrel, and that gave me purchase on the metal.
Right.
And then I basically, over the course of 7 hours, because you never quite realise how long these things are going to take when you start them, I sewed, because if you can't sew, gents, you're not a real man.
Telling you right now. My mom taught me how to sew.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I sewed onto that fabric tape and just tacked it all on. My good friend Jacob gave me a Hawk sight for my gun,
Hmm.
which thank you, Jacob. Love you lots.
Shout out, Jake.
So, but yeah, it's new to me.
Now,
One,
what's the stuff on the front here? It's like the grassy stuff. What is that? What'd you use?
so that's just basically it's a rifle wrap, and that's just like a woolly stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a rifle wrap, but I
What do you
didn't
buy
want
it
to
like
wrap it.
in a bag or something? And it's like you
No,
just kind of.
it's literally on like a
Oh.
string of elastic, and you
Oh,
just
okay.
wrap it around, and it's just a simple rifle wrap,
Huh.
and it's not very expensive at all. And I just put
Okay.
that around it, tacked
Yeah.
it on again. I'm quite lucky. I mean, I look at the stores in the States, and you've got obviously a lot of military surplus stores, and
Mm-hmm.
trust me, I'd be like a kid in a candy shop because
Yeah.
I look at some of those and I'm like, whoa, look! I mean,
Oh, that's a lot.
I'm a great one for a motifed T-shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the old 511 and stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
and I like a nice branded T-shirt. So, so I don't have a lot of guns at the moment. I did have quite a few, but I got a little bit. I'm not using these, and I really do want to have
Sure.
guns that I'm using to appreciate.
Absolutely.
So I've only actually got a few at the moment because I
Mhm.
wanted to appreciate what I've got. So I'm running the sniper rifle. behind me, I've actually got my ghillie suit hanging from the door,
Gotcha.
which is one that I got from a company called Military First, which is in the UK.
Okay.
So, can you see me in a bush? I'll let you be the judge of that. Am I in the right coloured bush? Again, I don't know. So yeah,
Right.
that is yeah. That's the big thing there. Are you in the right coloured bush? So I'm having a good deal of fun playing with that, but because of engagement rules with a sniper, you've obviously got a minimum engagement circle around you
Right.
because of the higher FPS of your sniper rifle.
Yep.
So if somebody comes into that engagement circle, we have to swap to our sidearm. Now, I use this,
Ooh.
which is a KWA MP9,
Nice.
which I like to call the Angry. Now, this is a gas blowback SMG.
Right.
And this basically, for me, is it's such a nice gun.
And it looks cool as hell. That's a really cool suppressor. What do you have, like an adapter on the end and then the suppressor?
Yeah. So I've got this little gold adapter because actually the end of the gun's quite ugly.
Yep.
So I've got this little adapter and then it's great. And then I've just got a little. What this is? This actually a pistol optic on the top.
Right.
But again, being gas, I don't know what the temperatures and stuff are like in Carolina or how consistent the temperatures are during the year. But in the UK, you have to be aware of the temperature and obviously the different types of gas that you have to use throughout the year to maintain. I know people that will only use gas. Will only use gas, and therefore they have to go from green in the summer to red and then black gas in the winter to maintain.
So there's different ones.
Yeah, in the UK, you have to use different coloured gases at different time of year because of the temperature differences.
Right. Well, we had that issue too when we first started our channel. Was in we actually started shooting the guns, testing the guns in March of 2019. And so in South Carolina in March, from like right now, like around October, like the middle of October or so, the weather starts getting cooler. So nighttime and morning will be like 50s, right? Fahrenheit. And then sometimes 40s Fahrenheit. And then now during the winter,
straight away you've lost me because we do centigrade and not
Fahrenheit.
You do
centigrade, right? Let's see, what is so 70 I think 70 degrees, or no, so 0 centigrade is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's what it is. Yeah. Because that's freezing for us. Like 32 degrees is when water freezes or whatever. So that's when we'll start getting snow.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. But if we was talking 32 degrees here, we'd be like, "Woo, it's a hot one."
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, because it's like 70, 70 degrees. But we had to be aware of that because when we went out and started shooting these pistols, they'd start, spewing gas out because the, O-ring's starting to freeze up a little and shrink up or whatever. So, same type of thing. But I didn't know there was different types of gas that wouldn't get as cold that you guys use.
But it's different pressure and stuff. For instance, the other rig that I use, so my other gun, this is my big puppy. So this is my
Scar.
See, look straight away. Oh, it's a lug boot. I fucking
Yep.
hate when
Yep. I was
people
going to
say
say the
that.
boot.
Yeah. So basically, this is a TM.
Okay.
Let me move back again. God, everything's so big when you're trying to. Oh, if only. Trying to get in camera. Hello. So this is a Toki Marui
Yeah.
Scar H,
Yep.
which I've had for about 5 years.
Looks awesome.
It's
So what is it?
heavy.
People don't like the boot
No,
stock or whatever?
people take the piss out of you because of the young
Really?
boot at the end. But
I like
I love this gun.
Mm-hmm.
It's very consistent. And yeah, it is. It's quite a heavy old gun, but for me,
Bet.
I love it, and I've put different things on it. It's got a different grip on the front of it, which is quite unique and everything. And then the suppressor's different on it. I've also got a nice little hand finger attachments on the front for my pec box. So, yeah, I really like this gun. It sounds different. No, not everybody else is. I mean, I'm quite interested in not being an M4 person.
Sure.
Because everybody's got an M4.
Because everyone's got them.
Yeah, but not to say that I don't like them, because I do. Because my other one that my son's currently got, which is the Honey Badger, is M4 platformed, but it's not quite, So I mean, I love this gun. It's fucking awesome, and I love it to pieces. So that's that one, and then my vest. So I've got my call sign on the front, which is Mother.
Yep.
Because basically I look after everyone. Couple of patches and stuff.
Yeah, man.
Obviously 511's a big company out in the States.
Oh, 511.
But they do limited patch runs on some of their patches.
Right. And
funnily enough, I actually got offered quite a lot of money for this patch on the front, which is a Breacher patch of this. It's the Grim Reaper. And a guy was like, "Oh, I'll give you such and such for that." And I was like,
"Yeah,
what? That's that's mad." So yeah, got that.
Now, what's the other one?
The other one is Cerberus.
Wolverine or a wolf?
No,
or
it's just a wolf on the front.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I've got my Tabasco bottle, which is from MRE packs.
Oh yeah. Oh, we used to love those, bro.
Yeah, it's a bit. I think it's a bit sort of. I have to shake it up because I think it's a little bit sort of. It's come apart a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I'd ever use it. Yeah, I've got various pouches and stuff for when we go and do any, serious bits and bobs. I've got my day sack on the back. I tend to keep all this stuff on my rig all the time because it's there, and I can just tighten it all down to make it a lot smaller.
That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Radio and stuff. Just standard Bofang. But yeah, I like this one. It's just an Invader one. It's got the quick release mechs on it. I like these mag pouches that I've got.
Yeah,
they're nice. I like those ones.
That is nice.
Not that you ever get much chance to get stealth kills. Obviously, this isn't real blade, but this is from a nice company called TS Blades.
Okay, it looks cool.
Oh, mate, it is very cool.
I love the way that handle is shaped, too.
They do some terrific stuff.
Yeah. From
cold steel karambits to all sorts of various bits and bobs. Really nice stuff they do. So, yeah, that's from... I just like the way it feels in my hand. If it was a real knife, it would be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's from a company called TS Blades. not very expensive, about 30 quid,
Okay.
and or 30 pounds, I should say. And so yeah, that's good. I'd like to think over the years, I have made some financial errors, as we all do,
Absolutely.
unfortunately.
That's how we learn.
But I'd like to think that my rig now is not just functional, but yeah, it really works well for me.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I've finally, because I think this is a massive, massive, massive thing. Holsters. Fucking hell, holsters. Dear God. The amount of times I see people running around with leg holsters.
Yeah.
Seriously. You haven't got a big penis, right? You're running around with this leg holster on.
Yeah.
It's got multiple leg mounts on it, right? The leg holster is halfway down your thigh. There is no way you can draw that pistol anyway, because it's too far down your thigh. So the one that I got, let me just take my pistol out of the way, we'll show you that in a minute, is a Kydex holster.
Yeah.
So
yeah, those are popular.
The belt that I've got is just one of those nice ones where you put the Velcro insert onto your trousers, and then you basically overwrap the belt onto the Velcro. So that's nice. So the Kydex holster is a single leg loop holster.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes on, and then it's a single leg loop down just underneath your groin, which obviously means that when you do need to draw your holster, your pistol out your holster, that you do get a nice draw on it. Mm-hmm. It's also got a locking safety mech on it, which is cool. Then when trust me, it does work, but it doesn't seem to work very well when it's not engaged on your waist. But then it disengages when it's on your waist. We've got a couple of extra pouches and stuff like that. Got an actual proper medic kit on there, because you never do know when you're out.
Sure.
If someone is going to get a proper boo-boo when they're out in the field. Mm-hmm. Pistol mags. Yep. I also keep on my belt. I keep my what I call my dead man. Mm-hmm. Mag.
Right.
That's my last rifle mag.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep that on my belt. I've got all of my ones that are on my rig up here. This is my dead man one. It's my last fucking stand one that's on here.
Right.
And that one is a green one. Yeah. If I have to draw that, then I know I'm on my last one completely. Mm-hmm. So that's a sort of tactical thing for me, that I really know that I am on my last breath, if you like.
Right.
Pistol. Had a couple of pistols. Mm-hmm. At the moment, just going to take a snippet of water. I think pistols are, lots of people can pick rifles and stuff up and they'll be like, oh, that's really nice, I like that. Pistols, I find, are incredibly personal. And the reason why they're incredibly personal is because of your hands. Everybody's hands are so different in size, in strength, in grip. And that is determined by the pistol grip, the weight of the pistol, the size of the grip, and everything like that. And I'd like to think that happens with real guns as well. Mm-hmm. So the one that I've got is, it's a Toki Marui FNX 45.
Oh, nice.
Now, I first saw this gun, but not by this company, probably about 6 years ago.
Okay.
It was only available from another maker called Cybergun.
Oh, yeah.
But the downside of it was, and after I did some research on it, you can only get one magazine with it. So where was the point in investing in this gun
Yeah.
when you could only get one magazine for it. So I shelved the idea
Uh,
completely
yeah.
because where's the practicality in this gun with
Hmm.
one magazine? I can't buy any extra mags for it. Then Toki Marie started making them. I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna buy me that." But because it's Toki Marie, you have to run it on lower rate gas
Oh, okay.
because of its plastic and it's not metal. So you
Gotcha.
can only run it on the white gas
Oh, okay.
because it's lower rated gas pressure.
Uh-huh.
So, but I really like this gun. It feels good.
Yeah.
Again, I've got an optic on there and stuff. Don't always use it, but
Yeah.
it's there. But for me, the stippling on the grip, I do normally run. I do normally put a rubber band on the grip as well,
Sure.
just to add extra grip for my gloves and everything.
Hmm.
But yeah, for me, I really like this. It's nice.
It looks nice.
Um,
Now,
yeah,
what are you saying? You could only get the other one. You could only get one magazine. Was it? You couldn't
at
buy one of their
at
own?
the time, I don't
Yeah.
know whether they've changed it now, but at the time,
Yeah.
really put me off purchasing the gun. I absolutely loved it. I mean, the gun basically doesn't look any different from their make to this one. But again, why are you going to outlay all that money on something that you can only purchase one magazine, which is the one that comes with the gun?
So they didn't make extra ones that you could buy. You could only get it if you bought the whole gun by together with it.
Yeah,
Or
so
was
you
it?
basically bought the gun,
Yeah.
one magazine come with the gun, but you couldn't go. It's like
Huh.
I bought this from my local store, which is
Yeah.
the Crawley Surplus store. Sorry, that's my phone going off. The Crawley Surplus store near
Yeah.
me, and straight away from them, I was able to purchase two extra magazines,
Hmm.
and you know, I'm quite happy for a pistol setup to be running three magazines, and I think that's sufficient for me.
Right.
So I'm happy.
Okay. Hey, let me take a 1 minute break here real quick. I gotta take a piss.
Go on then. You are of that age.
I know, right? I'm drinking this. I'm drinking coffee. I don't know. Coffee sounded really good to me today. Right before we were getting on here, I was like, I'm gonna make some coffee. So, all right, give me 1 second. There we go.
It's
Yeah, yeah, much better.
it's good. But then refilling the tank again.
I know, right?
It is, I'm empty. I think I refill. So other bits and bobs that I do. A couple of years ago, we
Yeah.
have this thing, which is the National Airsoft Festival,
Oh yeah, I've
which
heard a
is
bunch about it. Looks
which is
awesome.
a which is a great event.
Hmm.
Um, Gameplay's not great because
Right.
there's a lot of cheating goes on. There's like there's like 3,000 people that rock up. There's three
Uh-huh.
teams. So there's 1,000 people per team,
Woo!
which is a huge
That's
amount, you can imagine.
crazy.
But the experience of it is quite something. And
Hmm.
you go there and you camp. Always take earplugs. Always take earplugs because there's always be some noisy bugger that's playing music until stupid o'clock in the morning, thinking that's funny. Um, Always go to the toilet early doors because those thunder boxes they get nasty in the hot weather, you know.
Oh yeah.
But we went there and one year and we saw these mesh glasses from a company, and they were quite expensive and stuff. I had a look at them, and they were from a company called Hero Shark. Now, not knocking them or anything like that, they're very, very well made. But I thought, oh, I'm not really going to pay that sort of money. They're quite expensive. I thought I can make a pair of those myself. So I actually make as well. I don't sell them, by the way. So
Yeah.
please, people, don't be flooding me in with, oh, Can you make me a pair, please? Because I don't make them for people. I ain't trying to sell these things online, please. So please don't flood me in with requests. But I actually make these glasses.
Okay.
I've made about a dozen pair for my
Okay.
friends
Yep.
and stuff. Now I'm not a little person. I'm a bit too big for my age and stuff. So I am producing a little bit too much heat when I'm running around. I have tried solid lenses and stuff, but they're always going to fog up. So I have had to go back to mesh glasses. Now the design of these is slightly different because I don't just put the mesh in flat. I actually angle the mesh in at the edges so it bevels up and it makes the mesh stronger. Now I've had several direct hits on the mesh of these, which if you get shot in the eye pro, it properly makes your ass tweak. If you get shot in the eye pro, it really does make your ass jump.
I'm sure.
And I can honestly say there ain't a single mark on these. Now, I've had these now for 4 years since I've made them.
Wow.
And there isn't a single mark on these. And I've received sniper blows on these.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not hard to make. I make them from a donor pair of what I would call the commander style. Almost like what Scuba was nicknamed for. How he got his nickname for was Scuba, was just like the big tank style commando glasses. So basically, they're like they're Bolly safety glasses.
Yeah.
And I pulled a glass frame out of them, use those glass frame as a template, and go round the outside of it. So you just get duct tape, put it over the donor lens, use a standard Sharpie marker, and the width of that Sharpie marker, which is probably about 2 or 3 mil, gives you that extra little bit of thickness. You cut round it with a pair of tin snips, go round it with a bench angle grinder just to take the edge off of it, and then with a pair of pliers, you just apply the bend on it. There's another pair there which I made just at the weekend, actually for Scuba. I made 2 pairs. These pair I sprayed in Coyote. So I can be very pretty. One pair in green,
really nice,
and one pair in Coyote.
Now, how do you secure it so it extends around the sides?
Your strength. Or how do I get the mesh in the frame?
Yeah, how do you secure it to the frame?
Pure strength. I just push it in. But basically, because it's not just flat, the edges are beveled in as well. So you shape it and you bevel it in. It just adds extra. Obviously a curved edge is greater strength than just it being flat. And because it's all curved, that's what gives it greater strength against an impact of a BB. It's just something I worked out. It was just better for me. So that's something that I've made. I've made loads of things over the years, or adapted loads of bits and bobs. I'm still Ben showed you this. Again, I don't know if you have it in the States. It's from the company called Lone Star Tactical. There's lots of people starting to rock these rather than having a heavy metal mouth guard. Mate, I can't get on with gum shields. I just end up salivating too much. I just look like I've got rabies. It's not a good look for me, especially with the beard as well. It just, obviously, that damp beard look. It's not a good look for
like
me.
A rabid dog. Yeah.
Well,
you know who was telling me? Dan was telling me. I think it was Dan was telling me that he got shot in the gum shield, and it gave him like an instant migraine. Like it vibrated so, like it was just like this. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's kind of a fluke when it happens. But it was like this reverberation almost off his teeth and his nerves in his mouth or on his teeth.
I can well believe it.
I mean, he could barely see. It was such a a strong headache from this. He's
We've
like, yeah,
all
so I don't use it anymore.
we've all been shot in super painful play. I mean, I was shot in the ear.
Yeah, that would hurt.
I got shot in the temple the other day,
Mm.
just right above where the line of my glasses was.
Oh yeah.
So I was just a shout out to, obviously we've spoken. You served in the military. You was a Marine and stuff. And when we was talking before, we was saying
Yeah.
about how we supported our friends and stuff.
Yep.
And I said I'd give him a big mention. My friends at JBG Airsoft, who were a
Is that Johnny
veteran
Big
run,
or Johnny Big
Johnny
Gun?
Big Guns,
Yep.
who are just a fantastic group of guys. These guys, we've done milsims with them. They also run training courses and stuff like that. They're just a
Okay.
really nice group of guys. They're ex-veterans and stuff like that,
Right.
and they were also instrumental. And I think some of them, although we have spoken about it, were part of the board that exposed the Walter Mitty that we spoke about earlier.
Right.
So this is why I kind of have a greater love for these guys.
Yeah.
Because in many respects, they kind of broke me and my friends out of this lie bubble that we were in.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. That's cool.
yeah,
Well, I mean, it's
yeah,
cool that they had a hand in that. Yeah.
yeah, and also as well. I mean, listen, they're just great guys. They're
Right.
really nice. They're very supportive, and I bought that hat from them. Ben, of course, was like, "Is that for me?" And I was like, "Clearly not. It's not even the colours that you wear," because he likes to wear multicam Tropic,
Yeah.
and I'm just wearing multicam. I actually wear I think it's Pentecot. It's so it's like American multicam on the bottom,
Okay.
and then I'm wearing like English multicam on the top. So I'm a little bit sort of cookies and cream.
Mm.
But yeah, he nicked all. They sent a load of complimentary stickers as well,
Okay. Yeah.
and so of course he nicked all of those. And then I sent him a message saying thank you very much. I said, but I didn't get the stickers because my son stole them all. And he was like, "Oh, too bad, man." But
That's fun.
they're just a great group of blokes. So look forward to doing more stuff with them next year and stuff. Really, Scuba's off to do a training course with them in a prison. Actually, they're running a CQB course in a prison.
Oh, that's cool.
So he's actually bunking there overnight in the cells and stuff in the prison.
Dang. What?
So yeah, I was like, wow, that's crazy. So I've said to him, like, because I've got like in my garage and stuff, I've got multiple camping setups. So when we go out, I could literally load up my Bergen, and I could set up to either camp under with either a hammock or just underneath a tarp or whatever, or even in a bivy bag or something like that, or we could go tent or whatever, or we could go camping cot. So I've just said to him, look, don't spend your money at the moment. I've got stuff I can accommodate you, because I have lots of different arrangements of stuff that I can do. So I help him out in that respect. Hence why, again, the name of Call Sign Mother. Because this is, and plus, when we used to go to games and stuff, a lot of the time I would just bring cake, not just for me, not cake just for me, But I would bring cake and everyone would be, and sweets and stuff, and I would just hand them out to stuff. And I would
Nice.
help people. I would help people out with bits and bobs, you know. Oh, well,
Hmm.
I'll alter that for you. I'll do this for you, and so yeah, that's
Now,
where the nick.
what was your first ever airsoft game like? What was your what was that like? Your first experience with an official airsoft game?
It was crazy. It was just you just don't know what to expect. It was just it's just you're just full of adrenaline, and you know you're just holding this. It's not your gun,
Hmm.
so it's not a known commodity. I mean, I know all my bits of kit. You know, they're tried and tested. I always take, like for instance, as I said, I'm only really running two guns now, and Ben's nicked my original gun because he doesn't like the one I bought him anymore. That's what kids are like. I like your one, Dad, your original one. And the reason why he likes it, don't get me wrong. I mean, I was very lucky in my choice when I purchased it because I looked into it. I didn't have a lot of cash to purchase it at the time,
Yeah,
but I bought an Aries Honey Badger, which I believe he showed you
yeah,
on the video. And when I looked at it, one of the things that attracted me to it was it had a programmable gearbox on it.
yeah.
So a lot of people, when they start off, they're kind of known as the spray and pray. So they just
Hmm.
click it on full auto and just. But the good thing about the Honey Badger was you could have it on single shot, and then you could just put it on 3-shot burst.
Yeah.
So that single pull of the trigger would send 3 BBs out at once. So that's what he's rocking at the moment, and
Right.
yeah, I'm just not getting a look in on my original gun at all. And even though that is, you know, quite old now,
Hmm.
it's still really good. It's still very reliable, and
Yeah.
yep, he won't let me near it.
Well, you
That's
don't
what
need, you
kids.
got that, you got your own
I got
pretty
my own
good setup.
other
Yeah.
arsenal of bits and bobs, but I'm not really sort of interested in adding stuff to it. I mean, my friend Jacob, he he's actually being commissioned to build stuff now.
Okay.
So, and people are dropping some serious coin on him
Yeah.
to build stuff. Um, and I talk to him all the time, and I'm like, honestly, I stand there and I'm like, how much? And then that was just for the outside of the gun.
That's crazy.
That was just for the outside of the gun. Oh, okay. And then this month you're doing the internals.
Mm.
And my mouth is just agog. And I'm like, who has got the money to drop that sort of coin
Oh,
for that? Because the thing is, I'm not a huge fan of the AKs, right? I don't
okay.
know why. I just don't like them. To me, they look a bit plasticky,
Yeah.
but this fella paid him, it was £1,200
Yeah.
just to do the externals on it. And my God, it's a fantastic looking gun.
Okay.
And that was just the externals of it.
Yeah.
And then he's paying him a further £1,400 to
Hmm.
do the internals.
Yeah.
And that's without the outlay of what the original gun cost. So
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
it's just, and I'm like, it's like when we used to go to the Legion games. And I wasn't playing at the time. I didn't used to play in multicam. We always used to play on the Barbarian team, who
Hmm.
were, and we were known as the lesser team, if you like. And everybody that
Sure.
used to play in multicam, they were always sort of like the rich boys
Uh-huh.
because, but we used to whoop their asses near enough all the time. But at the end of the day, when we were walking back in, the ordnance that you would see on the floor, the tag grenades and everything like that, the flashbangs,
Yeah.
the smokes, and I used to look on it and going, Jesus Christ, look at all of that. I just couldn't afford. You look at it and you look, all I used to see was pound signs on the
I was
floor.
gonna
And I
say, you're
go,
looking around going,
that's a
that's
tenner. That's a tenner on the floor right there.
yep.
That's £8 on the floor right there. And someone's just like, I'm trying to kill you.
Yeah.
I'm
One-time
throwing
use.
money at you. No, I'm just trying to kill you. It ain't working. It's not working. But yeah, they just used to. These people had some serious money, Eric.
Hey, listen, we went
But
to the first Milsim I went to with these guys, with my boys. We go out there and we get registered, we get all checked in and everything, and we go to, everyone goes to the shop, right? Like at the, before the Milsim starts. So we get in Friday pretty early before anything starts. And, we're like 3 or 4 hours early. So everyone's hanging out, getting in from all these different states. People will come from these bigger milsims. People will come from across the country. They'll come from Florida, which is about an 8 to 10 hour drive, depending on where you're at in Florida. From up to where we're at. They'll come from Tennessee. They'll come from New York, Pennsylvania.
oh
That kind of
wow,
thing.
they
So
really
I'm
are
talking like
traveling in.
12, 14, 16 hour drive to come in. And there's like 700 people at the Milsim, okay? So everyone gets there, a lot of people get there early, and we all hang out at the in the shop. So they have a storefront set up inside one of the buildings. They've got tag-in. Now this is a couple years ago. They've got tag-in grenades, the tag-in launchers, and so those things are very expensive, for a whole case, like a whole box. So they'll have cases stacked up. People will go walk in there on these different teams and buy a whole case. Now I don't know how much they are for the whole case, but it's over $100, right? It's maybe a couple hundred, but I don't know. But there's 12 grenades in a case, and these things, they're awesome. But I'm seeing all these guys come in, and they've got all kind of, Gucci gear, okay? Their guns are decked out. I'm talking like a $2,000 gun.
Yeah.
Plus, they're buying, hundreds of dollars in pyro on the day of the, of the event. And I'm going, bro, like they've probably dropped, with travel costs. Now the good thing is you don't have to, you're camping on the field for the weekend, so you don't have to pay for a hotel. Some guys do, right? Some guys don't stay at the field. They'll get somewhere close by. But you're dropping a lot of money to go to this event for 3 days, and you're buying hundreds of dollars in pyro that is one-time use. You throw it, you shoot it, whatever, and it's done. And I'm going, bro, who's like, what? where do they have this money to just literally shoot away, like throw away?
Oh, I know. It's crazy. Well, I'll tell you now, tag, which were the tag grenades, a lot of the tag itself, I think, were actually a Russian company.
Yeah, they're Russian, yeah.
So, but I think they've sort of like gone very quiet now.
Yeah, well, you couldn't get anything after all that started. So this was the first mill center I went to. Like I said, was a couple years ago, and this was obviously before all that started. So tag
rounds have actually, unfortunately, been banned from a lot of sites in the UK now.
Oh,
because of improper use.
Yeah, they're pretty hefty, man.
Oh fuck yeah, they really are. I mean, you've
it's like a flashbang.
Well, the thing is with them is that they've always got to be launched. I mean, I've got just a handheld one.
Yeah.
I didn't want an underslung. I see lots of people with. Yes, it does make their rifle look a bit Gucci and stuff, but it does make the barrel much heavier.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, no, I don't want anything like that. So I just got a handheld barrel launcher,
Yeah.
um, which, of course, being me, and I should have bought it and it's in the garage, but I haven't used it for quite a while because the majority of sites just banned them
Yeah.
because of misuse. Now, my one has got googly eyes on it. And
What?
it's got, yeah, I know. Well, see,
Do you
look,
have a picture of it on your Instagram? Because I got your Instagram pulled up.
no, I'll what I'll
Okay.
do is I'll send you a picture of it.
Okay.
I think the googly eyes actually came off of it, so maybe I won't. So maybe it doesn't look as cool as it did. But basically, yeah, it's got googly eyes, and I drew a sort of mouth and stuff on it, and I painted it all.
Oh,
But
that's funny.
so people like say, "Oh, you've got a tag." Oh, it's comedic one. Okay. But again, you've got to be careful with it because
Oh,
that
for
thing,
real.
it goes off, it primes in the air, it's a solid state thing,
Yep.
and then it goes off and it explodes. So
Yeah,
you
dude.
can't direct fire it at people.
Uh-uh.
A guy, when I was on the team, the guy who was our team leader, as he liked to promote himself, his one had a very light trigger on it,
Mm-hmm.
and his went off, and it hit the floor, and it went along the floor like, and then
Oh,
just,
they're like a rocket, man. Yeah.
and, and this mimicked something that happened at an airsoft site
Mm-hmm.
that actually happened to somebody else, that it went along the floor and then hit like a burrow of dirt, and
Yeah.
then came back up and hit somebody in the chest.
Sure.
Now, again, this then mimics another thing that happened where it came up and exploded near somebody's neck
Oh, did you see
and
that
caused,
video?
yeah, it caused a bleed on their jugular or something like that.
So
And then all the
yeah.
airsoft sites are absolutely shitting themselves, and that's it. Blanket ban on tech grounds
Okay.
because they cannot afford for an incident like that to happen.
Yeah.
Who would want to be sued for something like that on their site? So that's
You
it.
signed a waiver, bro.
Yeah, you just can't. I mean, I've still got loads of like Mark 9 grenades and stuff like that,
Right.
flashbangs and stuff in my boombox from and I call it my boombox because it's all locked away and everything. For milsims and stuff.
Yeah.
But you can't use them on a usual skirmish Sunday because you just throw them and someone would literally shit their pants because they're spoon grenades as well.
Uh-huh.
And we were at a thing, and I just had one, and we were talking to one of the marshals, and so we weren't actually in play. We'd all been killed, and we weren't actually in play. And I just pulled the pin on it, and I just dropped it. So we were all dead anyway. And we were talking to the marshal, and it just went off. And the marshal, I think he shat himself just ever so slightly, and he went, "That wasn't a Mark 5, was it?" And I went, "No, it wasn't." Like all cocky. "No, it wasn't. I think it was at least a Mark 7. And he went, "Please don't use that out in the game filter." And I went, "No, it's all right, mate. I promise I won't." And he went, "I literally shit myself then." And everyone looked at me and they were like, "I can't believe you did that." And I went, "Oh, I just had to." It was quite funny. I was seeing who would shit themselves. But yeah, you've got to have a laugh when you're out there. You can't take it too seriously.
I mean, that's what it's for. It's this is it's fun. I mean, it's partially competitive, but not really.
I mean, I do take it seriously.
Yeah.
But we all have those days where, I mean, last year, again, I haven't got my kit box in it because it's too much to roll in. But I actually went and bought myself, after this particular incident, a pair of ice crampons. Now, we don't get a lot of snow down here in the southeast of of England. But the reason why I bought them is because down at Drivers, there's sections of which is quite clay soil. Now I've got good boots and they're Gore-Tex boots and everything, but the
Yeah.
underside of them can still get quite chogged up with clay.
Okay.
So
Oh,
even though
that's
I've got
smart.
a lot of grip on my boats, in clay type soil, you can still get slippy. Now,
Hmm.
Maverick almost caught this, and I swear he kicks himself every time. He almost caught this on his GoPro, but he missed it because he literally was like, and turned back. Now, somebody threw some smoke, and me, the big guy, went, moving, and I hoofed it, but did a road runner, and I fell into a puddle. Now, I had the honey badger at the time,
Yeah.
and I literally into this puddle, and it looked like I had been dipped in chocolate right up one side
Uh-huh.
to the point of where I had to leave the game zone and go and clean myself up because I was that badly. Honestly, I was dirty with mud. It was terrible, and in my
That's
head,
funny.
I was like, "That's never happening again." I mean, Ben, my son, was like, "Oh my god," because he saw me just literally pancake. It was like, "Dad's down, Dad's down," and he constantly says to me, "Why do you have to be called call sign mother? Because it's really weird to be calling your dad mother
Oh,
on
right. Oh,
when
I didn't
you're
even think of
out." Yeah,
that.
dad, mother. But
That's
he
funny.
heard me laughing in the mud, and I kind of liken it as to when I'm obviously looking back as a dad, and they're the children, and they've fallen over, and
Hmm.
you're like, no, no, hold on, do I need to run up? Have they hurt themselves?
Right.
No, 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 they're all right. They're all
Yeah,
right.
you
They're
wait.
getting
You
up.
wait
Then
for that. Uh-huh.
they're not crying. They're
Yep.
not crying. They're okay. They're all right. And now I suppose he felt exactly the same as that. It was like, oh my God, oh, that looked right serious. Is dad all right? No, no, he's laughing. It's fine. So I bought these ice crampons, and they're serious. They're quite dangerous. I mean, if
Oh,
they're
sure.
quite
I mean, they're
lethal.
metal spikes. Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, to walk around in mud, it's just such traction is unbelievable. Never gonna. I mean, I'll wear them again this winter. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
So when it gets slippy and I see people like me, ha ha, look at me, look at the old boy here. I ain't falling over.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, once slipped, twice shy, quite literally. So
Exactly.
if you don't learn from your mistakes, then greater
The
fool you, really.
right.
So yeah, I'm sure there'll be something else that I'll make a faux pas of myself on because
Yeah, my boys when they would go, our oldest one, Christian, he no matter where it was or what area of the field they're on, they were he always finds somewhere to trip, something to trip over. So they were up on now in the woods. That's understandable, rocks and
oh yeah,
roots, tree
rocks
roots
and
and
roots and all
covered
sorts of
by
stuff. Yeah.
leaves and whatever. So, it's real common. But they were up on a roof of the building and tripped over the vent stack. It's about a 2-inch pipe, steel pipe that sticks up that they
Mm.
vent the plumbing for, and it only sticks up about 4 or 5 inches or whatever. But the whole roof is flat and open. Okay, there's one vent stack sticking up. He finds it, and apparently, he didn't see it and trips over it.
That one thing, that
That
one
one
thing
thing,
to
man.
trip you up, and
Oh
you
yeah.
found it.
So it was always the running joke whenever these guys would go to a milsim, telling him, "Hey, don't try not to trip and fall this time." But yeah, he was the one that always tripped and fell.
Yeah, try not to find that obligatory thing that you're gonna just fall over
Uh huh.
and
Well, he'd
hit
always
the
have his
deck.
GoPro on his helmet too, and he would fall, and then he wouldn't have his helmet strapped on, it's just sitting up there. So the helmet goes, and you can see the GoPro as it's tumbling,
And
and
it
then
would
it
probably
lands.
catch him tumbling
It's
as well.
yeah, you can yep, and it's facing back at him partially, like in the, it's kind of upside down and sideways, and you see him
Love
on the
it.
ground like, oh, trying to get up. Yeah, it's
Uh,
funny.
well, Ben would really like me to wear. He was trying to get me to wear his GoPro, or
Yeah.
the one that I bought, on my tack helmet. I intend to wear my tack helmet in the winter, and again,
Hmm.
purely just to keep my bloody head warm.
Oh, sure.
On the summertime, it's too hot to wear it. I just wear either a baseball cap or a boonie
Yeah.
when I'm out. Uh, yeah, wear that in the winter. But I said to him, "Do you really want to, you know, hear me on your GoPro either like heavy breathing or swearing at someone?" I said, "I
Uh-huh.
don't think it's going to make great commentary on your GoPro." So I'm not sure whether I'm going to do that for him really.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to see whether there'll be a lot of editing for him. I think
Hmm.
if he goes down that route. So we've tried it. We've tried it when I've gone out on my motorbike.
Yeah.
Because I do the other thing I do is green laning,
What is that?
which is so it's so because out in the States you've got greater expanses of open off-road areas.
Yeah.
Okay. We and rights of access and stuff like that. We don't have
Hmm.
that in the UK. So we have these things called green lanes. So I'm allowed to ride my enduro bike, my trail bike,
Hmm.
on those lanes legally. And I'm also allowed to ride on unclassified ancient roads, or orcs as they're called.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're like trails and stuff. So
Yeah.
we tried the GoPro on the front of my crash helmet there.
Gotcha.
But when we looked back at the footage, it was just again a load of heavy breathing and swearing, and I'm like, oh fucking hell, that was close, and loads of jumping around and stuff and going up and down these things, which
Oh, yeah.
when you look back at the footage was really funny. But I was like, I don't think people are going to want to watch this, Ben. You know,
Well, I'm
just
looking at your
watching.
Instagram. I see the different bikes you guys have.
Yeah, so
Or
I've been road riding for 20 years, but
okay,
I've
how'd you get into
only
that?
it's something I always wanted to do, and unfortunately, um, my dad was passing away,
Mm,
and I think that's what pushed me to finally do it, to finally get my bike license and stuff like that.
yeah.
So I did that. The off-road stuff was something that me and my friend talked about a couple of years ago, but it
Okay.
never transpired. And I've only actually been doing that not even 2 years. So even though I'm not really competitive.
Hmm.
I don't put my hand up to say I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm a pretty good rider.
Yeah.
And but the off-road stuff, um, I'm still very much learning that. And yes, I fall off. And yeah, I don't bounce like I used to.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
when I was younger and I used to
same.
do judo and stuff, I used to bounce on the floor and
Hmm.
jump right up. At the age of 51, you don't bounce like you used to, and
Right.
you might, adrenaline might pick you back up off that floor, but trust me, the next day,
Oh, whew. The next
oh,
two
you're like,
days. You're talking.
yeah, like, oh, that doesn't
Uh-huh.
feel too. Where's that ibuprofen and that nice gel to rub on my joints? So yeah, but I enjoy it, and I don't really want to stop doing stuff like that
Sure.
because that's what life's about. And I
Yeah.
watch a lot of videos and stuff of riding and stuff out in the States where it just seems just a lot freer and a lot more like just frontier going out
Oh yeah.
and less constrictive. But I am
Yeah, the
also,
where we live right now, there's if you go one direction this way, if you go north, you're going into like the suburb area, the city.
hmm
So we're 5 to 10 minutes away from, shopping and, these kind of nice, amenities and things like
suburbia.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you go south from our house and it's like, it's all country roads. It's all open. There's hardly any houses. Like in certain areas, it's open fields of, a lot of open fields and then a lot of woodland, woods and just, uh, old land that has never been developed. And, people ride dirt bikes and go hunting. And it is really, if you want to get away from, any kind of busyness at all, you go 10 minutes this way and you will find yourself in the middle of nowhere where you can't even see a house
Well,
anywhere.
that's where people feel most at
Uh-huh.
peace, isn't it? Away from society.
For sure.
You talk about when people's mental health and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I just feel so good around being around
Uh-huh.
nature and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
walking in the woods and doing this and doing that." And it's lovely. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is
It's
nice.
great. But
Well,
yeah,
listen, man, it's been great talking with you.
oh, I've loved it. I knew I was going to enjoy it, Eric. I
Good.
really did.
I appreciate
I
it.
knew that I'd enjoy this experience. So
Yeah.
it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, man, you too. Well, tell everybody where they can follow you and find your stuff and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
future stuff you're gonna be doing for Airsoft.
Well, yeah, we're trying to do stuff.
Yeah, man.
Carry on doing bits and bobs. I'll try and send you a picture for your thumbnail and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be good. Definitely. So you got what are you rocking right now? You got Instagram, and is that pretty much where you post most of your Airsoft stuff?
Yeah, yeah. So I've got an open Instagram account, and then I've just got Facebook. So
Okay.
those are my two, but Facebook is obviously mine and it's
Yeah.
closed. And then I've got an open Instagram account, but I don't chase. I've done this because I just thought it'd be interesting to do. I'm not
Sure.
massively doing the chase on the Instagram thing. I'm not
No, no,
interested in
no.
that.
But it's
I
nice
thought
for
I thought it'd be an interesting thing to do. And everybody
right.
spoke very highly of you. And I thought you'd be an interesting chap to meet. Although we're meeting like this, I'm
Oh yeah.
sure
Thank you.
in person we'd get on famously. I'd like to,
Absolutely.
it'd
Yeah.
be a nice thing to meet you in person.
Yeah, for sure,
But
man.
yeah, this is how things have got to be done,
Well, look,
unfortunately.
if anyone out there is looking to get exposure on your socials from doing this podcast, I'm sorry to let you down. Okay, we don't. This podcast doesn't get a lot of traction, so um, it's pretty small as far as it's kind of like
No.
Airsoft is. It's like the most popular thing you've never heard of.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, and I
Uh,
wasn't looking. I wasn't looking. Oh,
oh, I know that.
look.
That's
I'm not going to grab the whole. I'm not grabbing it in that sort of
uh,
way. I
no, no,
just thought it would just be interesting to talk to somebody about the
absolutely, man.
interesting bits and pieces that I've done, the silly stuff that I've done, and
Well,
yeah,
yeah, and that's how I was taken. You're not looking for that, but I still list, people that I have on. I still list your wherever you post your airsoft stuff or whatever, because it's really one of the things that I'm trying to do with this podcast. One of the goals is to help connect people
mhm,
through our boundaries, through our whether that's uh, our political, there's way too many things out here right now that are I'm kind of teaching people how to be, segregated and separate and notice
Oh
our
yeah,
differences. And I'm trying to get people to cross these boundaries, which Airsoft does that by itself.
yeah.
But I would love to really help kind of get people to know each other through across the pond, across country lines, and we don't have a location barrier by with doing it this
No,
way.
exactly,
Like, yeah, we're
exactly.
so
It's
it's a
it's
really
like it's like the
unique
whole
thing.
biker thing as well.
Yeah,
When you're a biker, I term myself as a biker.
right.
I'm not a motorcyclist,
Right.
right? I think a
Uh-huh.
mo I think a motorcyclist is something different.
It
I
must
am,
be.
yeah, I am a biker. All right,
Gotcha. Yeah.
that's what I am,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you know, and I would talk likewise to other bikers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and there is a common bond there.
Oh, for sure.
So,
Now, have you
and
thought about getting a Harley? Have you ever looked at Harleys at all?
I went to the bike show recently, and I've always, I'm not the type of build to ride a sports bike, right?
Right.
And I've always had sort of upright sort of bikes,
Mm-hmm.
and I've sat on a Harley for the first time at the London Bike Show. So
Okay.
they had one which was running, and it had an exhaust extraction system on it, and it
Mm-hmm.
had obviously because it was it's air cooled, they had to have a fan system at the front of it to keep it cool.
Mm.
And everything that I had ridden previously was very upright, yeah, so
Yeah.
like enduro style bikes
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that. And I said to the guy, I went, how is this set up? I mean, I'm 6 foot, so I'm not, I don't think I'm massively tall.
Yeah.
I felt like a praying mantis on this thing. And he went, oh, this is set up for like, just medium height.
Yeah.
And my legs just fell all over the place with it.
Huh.
So I'm not sure. I mean, I'm always quite interested with body dynamics and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I've never ridden one out on the road. Do you ride yourself,
No.
Eric? You don't? Oh, that's
No.
interesting. But
Yeah. Well, I'm not able to right now.
you're not?
Yeah, I was
No.
paralyzed for a couple years, and so I don't have all my strength back. I can't really function the clutch and the brake. The grip
Mm.
thing. My grip's not very good, and my feet. I don't have very good use of my feet, so I can't switch the gears on a
Are you
motorcycle.
walking? Are you
Yeah.
walking
Hmm.
okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
But is it a sensation thing?
Yeah. I can't. I'll lose my balance pretty easily if I'm not
Oh,
on flat
really?
ground. Yeah. I can't really feel my feet too much. So.
Oh man,
Uh, yeah.
bad
So
times.
yeah, balance too is a wild thing. I wouldn't even attempt to get on a bike, but I've ridden. Um, it's been quite a few years, but back when I was growing up, I had
Hmm.
friends that had dirt bikes. We rode off road all the time, and then in the military, one of our buddies had a Honda 250, and or maybe it was a one. No, it wasn't a 125. It was a 250. It was a little bit bigger dirt
Yeah.
bike, and we would go to Palm Springs. So Palm Springs, just outside of Palm Springs, there's now this is back in 1991. I don't know if they're still doing it. I would imagine they're still doing it, but this is like open desert. Okay, so you have one main freeway, one main highway, 2-lane highway going into Palm Springs,
Mm.
and Palm Springs is kind of a popular site for high school and college kids to go out for spring break. Okay. So it's real
Okay.
busy, a lot of bars and that kind of thing. It was surprisingly, it's one of the only spring break locations that is not on the beach. It's like in the middle of the desert. But, every hotel has pools, and it gets pretty crazy out there. Well, just outside of that, before you, about 5 minutes before you get into Palm Springs, there is a open desert. On one side of the freeway is all open desert and with like rolling mounds, just really soft sand. So it's difficult to ride in, like when you first
Mm.
start out, because your back wheel is dug in, right? It sinks in that soft sand. But it's a great place to learn and try new things, like jumps and that kind of thing, because
Yeah.
when you land, I mean, it's literally like landing on cushions. You don't get hurt. Your bike doesn't get hurt. So it was a wonderful place for us to ride. We'd go out there, every, once a month, when I was stationed out in California. And on the other side of the freeway, they had this giant sand dune that went up to a cliff, went straight up. Okay.
Whoa.
And what they would do is they had quads. They had those, kind of sporty looking, four-wheelers, right?
Hmm.
With the big paddle wheels on the back. And they would go and see who could get up the highest up this giant cliff thing. And then they would just turn around and come back down. It wasn't straight up where they were tipping over or nothing, but they would go and you'd hear them over there revving, and you'd see the tail flipping out the
Yeah.
back, 30 foot of sand kicking out the back. And
Wow.
so it was really fun. So I rode a lot when I was in the military. And then when I got out, one of my buddies had a Honda, it is Honda, CBR 600, which is a sport bike. And they were real popular back in the 90s. They had the Ninjas, and the CBR 600s were probably the most popular sport bikes that were out at the time. He had a
Mm.
black and gold one, which is a real popular one that looked really cool. But I rode his all the time around the neighborhood because I had never ridden a sport bike before. And to this day, I've not ridden a Harley. My cousin worked at a Harley dealership for quite a few years. He has a
Hmm.
Harley. He bought his wife a Harley, and he's a big dude. He's got a big old beard. He lives in Florida. He's a big old redneck. Okay, he's probably 6'1", 320 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Big
Yeah.
white beard, and he sits on the Harley like like it's funny because a lot of guys that look like that, and he's got tattoos, and um, he looks mean, right? Especially when he's on the Harley and stuff. But he's like a teddy bear, okay? And, but I have not ridden any kind of touring bike like that.
No, I'd be interested in riding one on the road
Yeah.
just because of the seating position
Hmm.
and sort of like how they would actually feel on the road. But no, I haven't ridden one. I went out the other weekend with a friend of mine
Yeah.
on the trail bikes, and he's
Okay.
so my trail bike is a Yamaha WRF 450.
Okay. Ooh,
And
that's a decent size one. Okay.
yeah, well, I kind of got a bigger bike because I'm not a small person, so I
Yeah.
was kind of, even though it was my first bike, my first off-road bike,
Yeah.
kind of thought to myself, I'm sort of trying to cancel out a little bit of my body weight by getting a bigger engine on it,
Right.
so I can still. So I got a bigger engined bike, but I've done all right on it, you know. And my friend, it's always weird having somebody out with you who's got the same name as you.
Mm.
And I have said this to him, and I said, "Oh, it's really weird calling you James." And he was like, "Yeah, I agree. It's so strange." So we were out the other day, and he turned around and said to me, "Are you interested in doing a bike swap?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't mind." And I said to him, just be careful. I said, because my bike is actually, my bike's 18 years old, Eric.
Yeah.
It's a 2005 bike.
Okay.
The only reason why I said to him was, it wasn't because my bike's got 150cc more than his.
Hmm.
I just said to him, my bike's taller than yours.
Gotcha.
And he's not as tall as me.
Hmm.
So he's like about 5'10" or something like that.
Sure.
So he got on it and he sort of hopped around a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, you okay? You okay?
Tippy
Yeah,
toes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, tippy toes, tippy tippy tippy.
Uh-huh.
And maybe I don't feel it as little bit because when I sit my arse on it, the suspension comes down a
It
little.
goes down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd kick the side stand out on it for him because that's on the other side that he's balancing on.
Mm,
And the thing is that I've noticed when you're trail riding, and I've fallen foul of this on numerous occasions, when things start to get a bit wobbly,
yeah.
in your brain, the first thing your brain does is fuck, 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 put your foot down.
Yeah.
Well, 9 times out of 10, there ain't nothing under your foot to put
Yep.
it under. And by you trying to put your foot down, you're instantly trying to put your weight there and
Yep.
you just fall
Yep.
over.
I've seen
So
videos like that, man. Holy cow.
yeah, so I've done that on numerous occasions.
Okay.
Just like, oh
Okay.
shit, trying to balance yourself by putting your foot
Uh-huh.
down, and there's nothing under your foot because you're on uneven ground.
Right.
So I go off on his Honda 300L. What a melancholy engine. Honestly, it was like driving a Honda Civic.
Oh shit.
And I was like, fucking hell, this
Oh,
is
Lord.
boring.
Uh-huh.
Lord almighty, I thought, this is boring. Well, he only rode my bike for one lane, and these lanes were really placid.
Okay.
They were very placid. They were gnarly at all. There was no rocks or
Yeah.
no mud or inclines at all. They were just flat.
Okay.
Quite boring, really.
Right.
And he got off it. He was like, okay, yeah, we can swap back now. And he said, turn around, and he said to me, I can see why you've said this thing can be a bit of a liability on occasion.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, now, I don't know. I've only owned this thing for 2 years. So it's 18 years old. So I don't know its previous history. But yeah, it is, for its age, it's still got plenty of oomph left in it.
For sure. I mean, a 450 for a dirt bike is that's some good power. It really is.
Oh, it still goes, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, it's all, I put new gears or new rear sprocket and stuff like that on it. So I brought the speed down a little bit by changing the ratio on the back slightly. But yeah, I love it. And then I love my big bike as well. So I've got a Triumph Explorer 1200.
I think that's one the picture on your Instagram.
Yeah. So Ben's sitting on that. Okay. So I basically can't go out on that on my own.
Yeah.
Because Ben is my constant pillion.
Uh-huh.
So he comes out. But everyone has come out with me on that, Eric. Okay. Everyone, from my wife to my 2 daughters. And then when Ben was old enough to come out, Ben has been out with me ever since.
Yeah.
So that's good. He just loves it. It's just time out with Dad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, those are fun, man. I grew up with a guy when I was in elementary school. There was one of my friends. His dad was into motocross, like professionally, and he was learning. I remember when I first met him, it was like, I don't know, maybe I was 10 years old or something. And, we're little, and he had been riding since he was like 4, 5 years old on a tiny little, I don't even know what size it would be. 'Cause the small ones, they have like the 50cc little tiny ones. They make the sport bike looking ones now. They're like sport bike replicas, and they're little tiny 50cc ones. And I've seen these videos where little kids, 8, 9 years old or even younger, riding these little tiny 50cc little
sport bike. Absolutely fly on them.
Oh, I know. And he went. He followed his dad's footsteps. He went into motocross professionally when we got out of school. I mean, he was doing tournaments or I guess races or whatever and competitions when, he was 12, 13, 14 years old. So I was playing baseball on a traveling team and he was doing the motocross stuff. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Bikes are fun though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everything's fun until you fall off and hurt yourself.
Yeah, speed is fun. It's fun going fast
But until the
until the sudden stop.
sudden stop. The other year, I mean,
Uh-huh.
I, I came off the other year, and a year ago in April,
Okay.
and I bashed my knee up, I bashed my
Mm.
ankle up. If I wasn't wearing my motocross boots, I think I would have broken my ankle.
Oh yeah.
I had water on my knee and everything. I was in a
Oof.
riot. I had one of those really horrible bruises on my knee that was all those dirty
Those are
colours.
painful. Yes.
It was awful. Yeah,
Uh,
I was not in a good way for a couple of months. But yeah, that was coming off the trail bike.
yeah.
Just happened. And I've come off it before, and they tell you like momentum is your friend. You got to keep going. And the guy in front of me wasn't going very well, so I decided to try and go round him, and I
Mm.
hit a wet bit of ground, and I came off and I headbutted a tree, and
Oh God.
oh yeah, again, this is what I'm saying. No half measures. No
Uh-huh.
half measures. And I broke the peak on the front of my motocross helmet.
Oh yeah.
And they've come up to me and they're like, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I swear, I didn't
Seeing
knock
stars.
myself out, but
Yeah,
I did ring my bell a little bit,
for
so to say.
sure.
And the peak on the crash helmet, I kept it. I just repaired it with cable ties.
Okay.
So it looks scarred, but
Right.
it looks cool. But
Right.
it's just sort of scarred, repaired.
That's good.
But yeah, and I've fallen off of it and been caught in a chain link fence. It caught me
Oof.
like a cat. It caught me like a catcher's mitt.
Oh, like a net. Okay, good.
Yeah, and it caught me in a chain link fence, and I
Okay.
just missed a concrete post,
Oof.
and I fell off because I was going over these whoops,
Yep.
and I was tired. It was the end of the
Oh
day.
yeah.
And each time I went over this whoop and back down, I went a little bit off balance and then a
Uh-huh.
little bit more off balance.
Yeah.
And then I hit a tree root and then I
Yep.
came off.
Oh God.
And the guys behind me were like, "Fuck, are you okay? Are you okay?"
Uh-huh.
And again, I sat up and I was laughing and I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." Well, I think that's going to hurt in the morning. But
Those are those things, those whoops are yeah, you can't you can't let up on those. You can't really unless you're going slow, like just barely going up and over them. But if you're going kind of normal speed on the way you're supposed to on those, it's you can't really sit on the seat because you're going to lose your balance because it throws you. And
well, see some
you've
people
got to
and
use
they're
your legs as the
along the top.
yeah. If you go fast enough, you get that perfect speed. You can go fast enough and hit them just right. But you've got to be up on it, off your ass, and use your legs as the shock absorbers, and just ride it like like you're riding a horse
But
when it's
the
galloping.
problem with these ones is they're not even.
Uh-huh.
It's not like on a motocross
Right.
track where they're evenly scooped out
Yeah. Yeah.
by
You're gonna hit a couple like skim
yeah,
across them, and
by
then you're
an
gonna hit a bigger one
excavator,
that
and
launches you
so they're not
13 feet.
even. And so yeah, you'd be like, "Oh, this is going really well," and then all of a sudden, woo, off you go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Mr.
I
Mishap
watch
comes along.
I watch a lot. I follow a handful of motocross pages on Instagram, and I love seeing them. I love the tricks they do. These giant jumps they set up, and
Yeah.
the landing, the other side. They're starting to build these where they're kind of like soft landing
Oh yeah, they're
ramps,
almost yeah.
like inflatables almost, and with like a hard shell on top. But it has a lot of give, so when they land, and
Mm,
these guys are jumping, I don't know, 100, 200, 300 feet. You know what I'm talking about? And it is like what Evil Knievel used to do back in the day, but he would
mm.
always wreck and be in the hospital for a year. So,
Oh yeah, I know. Well,
God.
there's a British TV show called Top Gear,
Oh yeah, I've seen it a
and
bunch of times.
yeah, so they bought out a British stunt rider from back in the 90s and stuff, and his name was Eddie Kidd.
Okay. I've heard of it.
So
I've heard
yeah,
of him.
but
Yeah.
he's kind of forgotten now. But he did some
Okay.
really big stuff back in
Yeah.
the day. He sort of he jumped the Great Wall of China, and
Oh, okay.
he
Maybe that's where
actually
I've seen it.
out jumped. Sorry to be not sorry to be a bit of an overdoer, but he actually out jumped.
You're gonna one up
I'm
Evil
going to
Knievel?
one up you now, bro. He actually out jumped
Yeah.
Evil Knievel's son.
Okay.
But he was at a festival in England,
Yeah.
and this is where his bad accident happened. So instead of a normal jump, which
Hmm.
is on an incline and a decline ramp,
Right.
which is how most things happened,
Sure.
he was at a drag strip race called Centerpod, which is in the UK, and
Okay.
there was a whole festival-y type thing going on, and he was supposed to jump over the drag strip, and I think what happened was he jumped like this and jumped from an incline onto an incline, and
That's
his
weird.
bike, yeah, exactly, and his bike hit the incline.
Yeah.
So instead of him landing onto a decline,
Hmm.
he landed onto an incline, and of course his bike hit it and just collapsed, and he
Yeah.
collapsed into the tank, and he suffered horrific spinal injuries,
I'm sure.
which then caused brain injuries and all sorts of stuff like that.
God.
And before this accident, he was living the playboy lifestyle,
I'm sure.
because he was literally the British Evil Knievel,
Hmm.
and he's dating all these supermodels and stuff, and
Right.
he's living the dream. And this like you said with Evil Knievel, this one thing
Oh yeah, man.
just wiped him out, took
Oh
him off the
yeah.
board completely, and basically he's unfortunately, I don't know, but turned him into a vegetable.
Yeah.
Now he has to have constant care,
Mm.
and I don't know whether it's one of these sad scenarios whether he's mentally okay but trapped inside a broken body,
Yeah.
or I don't know.
Right.
I think that's one of the saddest possible scenarios.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I remember he was on the show a couple of years ago because they did a special on him as almost like a forgotten hero.
Right. I wonder if that's where I've heard of him, because I used to watch Top Gear a lot. When I was paralyzed and I was coming out of it, I could I could watch TV and stuff. Before that, I wasn't into watching TV shows. In fact, I wasn't into watching TV. I love movies, historic, just all the different kind of movies, coming up, and I like the experience of going to a movie theater, and watching
We all
on
did.
the big screen. Yeah. So, but I never sat in front of a TV and watched like a TV show until I was coming out of, when I was recovering.
How did you get paralyzed? Do you mind me asking?
An illness.
It was an illness. You didn't have an accident. It
No,
was
no
an illness.
accident. After the military, never got a flu shot, never went to the doctor, never got sick. I mean, not to where I was, I'm talking 25 years of, I'd have, maybe in 25 years, I got the flu maybe 5 times. And I'm talking like a 24-hour.
That's still quite a lot, though. Oh, no. All right.
In
Okay.
25
So not,
years. Yeah. And
so
then,
not the flu, but like a cold.
yeah, like a cold.
Yeah.
So it would lay me out for, 12 hours. I'd come home from work, sleep, go right to sleep, and then wake up and go back to work. That was being sick for me. That was it. So, and then a few years ago, just out of the blue, my hands stopped working. Like I couldn't grip anything, and I said, "What the hell? I'm not. I don't feel sick. I'm not tired. I don't know." And then within 4 or 5 days, I was paralyzed completely. I was laying in bed. I couldn't even talk. So, like my mouth, my tongue, everything, my eyelids barely worked when it was at the worst. So, it was autoimmune disorder. It's what they said, Guillain-Barre syndrome or something like that. It's in the same family as ALS and MS. So similar thing happens in the body. It's there's a thing called a myelin sheath that's on your nerves that is the connector between that basically receives the signal from your brain to tell
Yeah.
your this to do this. Okay, your hands to move, everything to move. So and I had massive nerve damage. So that was deteriorated. And so now I have power. I have a power source. I have, electricity coming from my brain to tell my hand to do something, but it's missing the connector. The wire's broken, right? The
Yeah.
connector's broken. So it's not getting the signal. So anyway, so that lasted a while, and I watched all these different shows, and that I had never even heard of before. So Top
Yeah.
Gear was one of them, and a bunch of different cars. I grew up loving cars. My dad was a mechanic. One of in fact, the first car that I learned how to drive on was a 1967 Bonneville, which was like a giant boat of a car. I mean, it was, I don't know I can't remember how long it was, but the wheelbase was so long that when you, like, it was literally like riding on a boat. The suspension was real bouncy, and
I wouldn't have liked to have done a U-turn on that. That must have been a
yeah,
nightmare.
forget that, because a lot of those older cars too didn't have a good or a tight turning radius. So, but the engines were massive. Okay, and these things, when you stepped on the gas, that thing went, even though it was this giant hunk of steel. But so that's I was always around cars. And loved that kind of stuff. So I started watching a lot of car shows. What's that, Mercurum or something like that? Auto Auction or something like that. That's a real popular one. I thought that was in the UK as well. And so a lot of these guys had kind of transferred over to some of these shows, Top Gear, and then Motor Trend. No, there's a couple other ones that I got into a bunch of them. So
Yeah.
I think that's where I heard about this, the kid, with the jumping.
Yeah.
Because I was, I love seeing the motocross stuff, where they're not the real races that they do. Those get really boring.
Yeah. I think sometimes you look at those and you can lose actually who's in first
all the time,
because. And you're like, whoa, this is so close. The tracks actually aren't that big.
No.
And I think a lot of motors, I give up with Formula One.
Yeah.
I'm not into that. My dad used to like Formula One when he was alive.
Yeah.
I quite like some of the American racing and stuff. I like this weird truck racing where they seem to be jumping the trucks, where they've got jumps on the track. Mm-hmm. And I probably like a lot of the some of the stuff that they do out in the States and bits and bobs, but then some of the other stuff that they do, that must seem quite processional as well.
Yeah, it gets boring, like NASCAR. Round and round and round, like it's, dude, I don't know how.
Just going around an oval circuit.
It's really slow.
I don't want to knock sort of something which seems so huge, but again, it's just going around an oval circuit.
I know it's intense.
It's very fast.
Takes a lot of skill, right? It's very fast. Like for the driver and the pit crew, it's very exciting, I'm sure. But as a spectator, it's not. Honestly, it's a lot like airsoft and paintball. Like as far as a spectator goes, if somebody's on the outside watching and has never really done it, or too much, if you had a game over here and a game over here, one's airsoft, one's paintball. As far as visually, spectating, paintball is way more exciting. If you watch the airsoft, it's like you don't really who got shot at. Like you see what's going on, you can hear these noises, but you don't see the BBs.
No, because everything's smaller.
As a spectator.
But if you look at NASCAR and stuff like that, the size of the stadiums and the people that are there. I mean, Christ, there's hundreds of
It's
thousands of people
it's
there.
packed. I think it's a social thing. I think it's like one of these things like, hey, it's something fun to go to, right? Because of the noise, the, drinking and it's like a party, you're not, most people aren't sitting there in the stands really paying attention who's in first, you know? So,
Yeah. I think I'd quite like. I mean, I've only been over to the States once when I was younger, and
okay.
that was we only did the Disney experience sort of thing, and that
Gotcha.
was when I was young. I was with my um, then was, and she became my first wife and stuff.
Yeah.
But that crashed and burned a few years later. But
Mm.
yeah, I've always wanted to come back
Yeah.
and
Well,
do
that's like me. I want to come to the, I want to go to
more
the
of
UK.
and do more of not the Disney thing, and do more
Yeah.
of the States, and just, but so much to
There's a
see.
lot.
I'd love to go and see a rodeo and
Yeah. I have not been to one of those. I went to a sand drag. I took my wife to a sand drag out in Helena,
mm,
California. Is when I was still when we got married. I was still in the military. I still had a year and a half left, 2 years left, and we went out to out in the middle of the desert by San Bernardino, um, and it was a nighttime, like a Friday night or whatever, and it was sand drag, and it was
mm,
like um, the long uh, drag racers. I forget what they're called, but you've seen them like on the NHRA.
yeah,
Um, those real long with the giant tires in the back.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Those dragsters like that. That's what these were. They were the same kind of cars that, but it was on sand. So their back tires, instead of being slicks, were paddle wheels.
yeah, 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 yeah. I can imagine. Yeah,
Oh my God! It was throwing sand 50 feet up. Um,
right. That's got to be a rough ride for them
it's
going
gotta
across
be.
that.
It was, it's a quarter mile. It's real short, but it was just amazing to watch. And I'm going to tell you, man, this is out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's literally in the dark in the desert. Okay, it's not. The drag strip was not like this real popular, well built kind of site. It was just thrown together. It was real kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
small and um, so you're standing there, and you can get pretty close, where the fence is, you can get pretty close to these things. And when they're getting ready to take off, and they're revving the engine, you see the flames coming out. I mean, this thing rattles your rib cage. I mean, it's just
you
so
could
much
feel it
bass.
reverberating in your
Oh, you
chest.
can feel, and when they take off, man, it. So I'm guessing I've never been to a NASCAR race, but that's what I've heard from people that go. Is there's so many cars that are so powerful when they go by in that large group, you can feel the thunder, like
Yeah, it
you
must go
know,
round in your chest, like you said.
right, right. So I'm sure it's probably more of a better experience going there in person
Mm.
than watching it on TV. Like I can't stand seeing it. It's just so I like it. I guess I'd put it on if I wanted to go to sleep because it's like mesmerizing.
Yeah, but I guess there's lots of things that you'd like to go and do, but
Yeah,
not seem to be like an obvious tourist to it.
yeah, yeah.
You'd want to sort of seem to blend in
Uh huh.
with the people that were there experiencing it as
Yeah.
well. You
I
you wouldn't want to seem to.
we went to Utah in August, and I took I've been doing these podcasts for a couple years, and I was releasing a lot, like 3 times a week. Releasing a lot of them. Well, then I took the whole month of August off. There was a few things that happened in our family, and good things too, and then we went to see our daughter in Utah, and Utah is 2,000 miles away from where we live. So we flew out there.
Wow.
Um,
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I was going to say you
yeah,
flew.
yeah, we flew. I had driven out there. I drove my daughter out there actually when she got out of the military But and then but we got out there and it's so pretty out there. It's beautiful. But I purposely wanted to look like a tourist when I was out there. I was telling my wife, I was like, "Yeah, let me wear this hat. Let's buy the stuff from the gift shop, okay? Like the T-shirt and the hat that says, because we were out in this kind of famous spot that it's called Moab, Utah.
He must have hated you.
Oh, she was
She
like, "Why
must
do you
have
want to do this?" I'm
hated
like,
you.
"Because people are always very helpful to tourists." She's like, "No, they're not. They don't like it." I'm like, "No, no, no. This is Utah. They're different, okay?" And it was actually it
You are
was
going to get robbed. You're going to get robbed, Dad. You're going to stick out too much, and
oh
they're going to go,
yeah.
look,
The
there's
only
an
thing
easy target.
the only thing I
Let's
was
rob
missing was
him.
a fanny pack. Okay, I should have wore a fanny pack.
Nice pink fluorescent one, just to really stand out
I
from the
mean,
crowd.
like shorts that are too big and a shirt that doesn't fit and sandals or something and like a camera around my neck. I
Ooh.
mean,
Oh, I
that's what
bet
I
you
should
look
have had
so
on. But
so
yeah,
handsome.
it was fun. But yeah, everyone was very very nice, very helpful. But yeah, I purposely I was like, let's not blend in. Let's dress like tourists. She's like, I'm
Let's
not doing that. I
stand
was like, no,
out.
you got to get this. There was a hat. These women wear it's kind of like the beach hat. It's like real, big and cover, kind of like for shade, and it makes you stand out like you don't belong there. But
It's like,
she wouldn't wear it.
yoo-hoo, I'm over
She
here,
would. She
darling.
didn't wear it.
She's
No,
chicken. She chickened out.
I know. She's like, no, we're here to hike. I was like, all right, well, go on. Let's go ahead. I'll take some pictures of you because I'm not keeping up.
I'm just going to be here at the
I'm
back.
slow. I'm slow. But we
Oh
had a great
man,
time. Well, listen, man, it's been wonderful talking with you.
I've had a blast, mate. This has
Yeah,
been really nice.
we'll definitely do it again. But so I'll put your the link to your Instagram on here, and of course,
Super.
yeah, man. Shout out to your team and Bernie and Dan and Marcus and Caitlin and
Hmm.
Krios Photography, Alex Hillary, Englefield Echo, everyone that I've talked with, and whoever I'm forgetting, I apologize. But I've talked to a lot of people that play at a lot of the same sites you're at. So it's
Yeah, I
been cool,
know.
man.
Where do you go from here, though, Eric?
Oh yeah. Well, who do you
Where
know?
are your next recommendations from?
Yeah. Who else do you know that? Well, people. There's some people on your team that I haven't had on here yet. So
Oh, here comes the dog again.
we'll have to get the rest of your team on here, one by one.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to think of
That'll be
someone
good.
else, and I'll think of someone else. There's a few other crazy people that I know.
I love crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good.
No
All right,
worries.
brother.
Cheers, man.
Thank you
Big
so
fish
much.
pump.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
fish pump to you. Yeah.
You
You
have a
look
great
after
night.
yourself. Yeah, I
All
will.
right.
All the better for talking to you, man.
Oh, thank you, bro. You too, man.
Thanks, man.
All
Have a
right.
good day.
Bye
Bye.
bye.